Hello, fellow followers. Welcome back to the Physical Media Show here on FanZcene. Glad to have you all with us. And with me right now is Tom. Runner is supposedly supposed to be joining us later, but you know how Runner is, guys.
He's always
How you
running
doing?
late. He runs late. That's
He
about
runs
it.
late.
How's everybody out there doing is the better question.
Yes, how's everybody in the chat and everybody at home doing watching? Let's say hi to everybody in the chat real quick. Who do we got? We got Cosmic Squirrels. Greetings from the cosmos. Greetings to you. And hail Tim Hayes. Glad to see you here. And Random Brad Creator. As always, it's always awesome to see you guys in the chat. Very appreciative. And deleted scenes. What's up, Steven? The mod, the man, the myth, the mod. There you go. And then we have, hey, look, who's this guy? I have never seen him in the chat ever. Never. I don't even know who he is. Well, welcome, my knights age. I don't know. I can't pronounce it.
Weird looking.
Weird.
Weird looking.
Look at this douchebag.
We don't like your kind around here.
Like you can. That's a douchebag right there. That's what I was going for. What's up, Dalton B? Cheers to you. How are you doing this evening? Well, chat jumped on me there for a minute. And Heather Preston, hi, how are you doing? And Stephen Luther, glad to see you here. What's up? Oh, and Berserker 99, what's up, buddy? Kitty Bear, where is Earthquake Love? Is that like the Earthquake from WWF? I remember him. Earthquake and Tugboat. Yeah, I know. I'm a nerd. What's up, Joey? Hi, how are you doing? Rusty Shackleford, glad to see you here as always. Yep, as always, Tim Hayes. We know. That's where Runner's at. That's where he's at as always.
You're running late.
And there you go, Tom. Cool gamer in his Windows logo as always.
Yeah, Windows has caused some issues lately.
I know they've been having lots of trouble.
I tell you. Well, all the updates they just did fucked up everything.
Yeah. What's up, Tyrell72? Well, I have to get a new computer, so I did get a new one. It's just not here.
Yeah.
Sadly. I've been wanting to make some videos, especially with some of the titles I brought tonight. I was wanting to do videos on. I can't. I mean, I could record them like this on the streaming, but I prefer to, I like to edit my videos. I wouldn't be able to edit because my damn computer crapped out on me. But it is what it is. At least I got one coming. It was supposed to be here Friday at the latest, but now they're saying Monday. So we gotta love shipping.
Always.
I know. No, I meant the song from Arnold Schwarzenegger, "Earthquake." Love it, drives Tom nuts.
Oh God, oh Lord, Lord. Why?
Yep, there you go, deleted scenes. Yep. But welcome. Glad you guys are with us tonight, as always. And I hope you enjoy the show. Actually, Runner's out watching Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
No
bother. He's out to kill Christopher Robbins. Yeah, so that's where he's at.
Yeah. So you may come back and tell us what he thinks of that.
Yeah, by the end of the show. Yeah. And of course, with our titles, we got like 3 each. Me and Tom. He'll come. I've got like 5 titles.
Yeah, you will. Every time.
But thank you guys for being here. We'll go over a couple titles real quick. Some of the bigger titles that just was announced before we get into showing our physical media,
which I can't show physically, which is weird.
Oh yeah, you go ahead and explain that a little bit if you want.
My camera quit working. I don't know if it's between either the camera itself or the new update that mucked up everything. Yeah, so I cannot come on camera tonight. I have no camera.
But we can still talk his movies, and if he needs to, he can show a picture. So
that's all I can do right there. See, that's it.
Oh man,
there is no camera. So,
It's horrible.
so sorry, kids. But yeah, I'll just show pictures and talk about stuff. So
Yeah,
there we go.
there you go. And as far as like new releases, we got Thelma and Louise from Criterion on 4K coming in April. We have
I love you, Thelma. I love you, Louise.
Hold My Hand. I wonder if they survived.
No,
Oh
why we
man.
never got the sequel.
Thelma and Louise 2. This time they meet death. It reminds
You
from
know,
Bill
it
and
makes you
Ted.
wonder. It's like, are they like, damn, I wish we'd have kept him alive. We could have made a sequel. Or then you got to go, or is the movie only famous because they killed themselves at the end?
Hmm.
Like, I mean, you got to ask yourself that.
That's true.
It's like Schrodinger's
That's true.
Thelma and Louise.
Is it famous because of the significance of the type of movie it was, or because they drove off a cliff?
And they should have
Very good
saved them
point.
for the sequel.
Very good point.
Aaron Johnson says, I'm not in favor of the whole turn Pooh into a horror movie nonsense. I prefer Pooh as a family property. Well, Aaron, here's the thing. I'm going to visit you in the middle of the night. And we're going to have a talk. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from, Aaron. But at the same time, it's public domain now.
Yeah.
I remember one of my first scripts I started writing was like a horror / psychedelic version of Alice in Wonderland.
Oh.
And by the time I realized 100 other people had done the same thing already.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
And multiple people done a horror version of it now. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, get ready. He's also the guy that did that is also doing an evil Peter Pan for one, and he wants to do a Teletubbies horror movie. So
I could make you fly, Peter. Come on over. I'll just toss you off this building like a little rain cloud.
Think happy thoughts.
All
That's
the
all
way
that will save
down.
But yes.
Oh, bother, he didn't float.
I'll tell you, what I'm saying is the movie that could be made is after Thelma and Louise go off the cliff, they meet Death from Bill and Ted, and they got to play him in the games to get their lives back. That's what I'm saying.
Thelma and Louise, yeah.
Yeah, that would be
play,
great.
Clue and chess and all that stuff. Yeah, that'd be funny. Now I'm moving up, though, in the world. I went from just murdering people to doing it on cocaine. That's right. That's me and Cocaine Bear. Work's been kind of slow since things have went public domain.
I like the Patrick Stewart voice when he.
Oh, bother.
No bother.
We will take no more bothers.
Yes.
The last one, no further.
That was like the biggest criterion. Other ones I didn't know, other than the Nicolas Cage. I can't even remember the name of it now.
And I don't want the world to see me. Yes, the original version of City of Angels is called the
Wings of Desire.
Wings
right?
of Desire.
Yeah, Wings of Desire. Yeah.
Yeah, being released by Criterion, along with a few other titles that we had never heard of. So
yeah. So Targets with Boris Karloff sounds good by Criterion, though.
It does.
So there's that. There's a Bruce Campbell. Go ahead. No, I was going to say.
We also learned of Chucky getting lucky. I don't know if you mentioned that.
Bride of Chucky.
That's right. And we also had a confirmation on one of our early rumors of Conan the Barbarian from Discfather. He didn't give us any more info than that, but it's coming, kids. We told you.
Yes, Conan on 4K, Bride of Chucky on 4K, The Last Starfighter on 4K from Arrow, and Night of the Living Dead, the remake by Tom Savini on 4K. So there's some great 4Ks coming.
Soundtrack, man.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
That score for that movie is amazing.
It is. Yeah, see, I go back and forth on that because I do like the fact I love the movie, but I do like the fact that he made Barbara, not other than just like this catatonic woman.
There's changes I liked, and there's a few I didn't.
That's what I'm saying.
And the other thing I always give it a pass because the only reason Savini said he'd do it is because he knew that George was getting paid.
Yeah.
Like he flat out said that in an interview. Like the only reason I said yes to it and the only reason we did it like the way we did is because this time George was actually going to get paid. and he never
exactly.
got any money for the original. So yeah.
It's so sad. I like that they do make Barbara a little more assertive. I don't really like what they did to I can't remember his name, but the guy down in the basement who wants to take control.
Oh yeah. It was like Bird or Fred or something or other.
Yeah, I
But
can't remember. In the original, he had some logistical
the
points.
problem is in the original, he's right.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the
That's what
sad
I'm
part.
saying. He has logistical points, and he just wants so badly to be in control. And the other guy is great. And then in the remake, they kind of make it a little more race baity type thing, and make him a little
Yeah.
more unbearable. Like, just kill this guy already.
Harry, that was his name. Thank you,
Harry,
Steven.
yes, yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, like I don't hate the remake. As far as remakes go,
No, it's
it
great.
retains enough of the original. And it also kind of does some twists, like you said. The casting's decent. Tony Todd is the lead, is amazing as always. I mean, Tony Todd's just a great actor. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it because it needs a new release. I have the import version because Twilight Time was the only one who released it in Blu-ray in the U.S. to my knowledge, unless I forgot of a release. And it had a really bad color timing issue, from what I was told. Like a really blue color timing. Like you can find it out there. It's out there. So I did the import. I can't remember if Umbrella or somebody else did the import, but they have a different color timing on theirs and it looks more regular. So
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, the whole score is great, Rusty. Like the synth score on that is so great.
It is, and that ending is still chilling as ever. I mean, it's just as chilling as the original ending. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like Chris Farley's movies, Brian Barth.
It's his birthday today.
Yeah, I love Tommy Boy, Black Sheep. Even though most people they said walked out of the theater, they hated it. I thought it was funny.
I sadly did not like much after Tommy Boy, even though I'm a huge Chris Farley fan. He just kept letting me down one after another. Beverly Hills Ninja was a bit of a bright spot, but it was still not up to par with the rest of his stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty sad we lost him so young. It's too bad.
Yeah,
and coming from Wisconsin as well, he was definitely a guy to look up to from a young man's perspective.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the things he did, I wouldn't necessarily say.
Yeah. Exactly. That's true. That's true. But yeah,
but it was because of guys like him and Belushi that I probably stayed away from a lot of the harder shit, to be honest.
Exactly. Once you hear about that, especially the guys you find really, really funny, like them, like John Belushi, Chris Farley, oh my gosh, John Candy.
Well, in his wasn't so much drugs, but it was like
his is alcohol,
overindulgence in alcohol and smoking. Yeah,
he just loved life. But yeah,
and being where he was at the time, they think that's what caused his high blood pressure, being up in the higher elevation and shit at the time, shooting the Western he was shooting.
Wagons East.
Wagons East or whatever,
Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of good 4Ks coming there. We're getting a Bruce Campbell TV sci-fi movie, Terminal Velocity, from Keanu Lorber on Blu-ray, directed by Sean S. Cunningham, which I've never seen.
Terminal Velocity, yeah. See, now that's the only reason I remember this movie now that you brought it up earlier. And I had no idea that A, Bruce Campbell was in it, and B, that it was directed by Sean S. Cunningham. Because I think this came out around the same time as the Wesley Snipes Terminal Velocity, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh boy!
I remember there was a little confusion between the two movies at that time, but yeah.
Well, there's that. Also, which we talked about earlier, and I brought this because I was wanting to show you, Tom. Robot Monster 3D 70th anniversary. It says the 50 sci-fi.
Not that I already didn't want to get this movie already, because look, it's like you said, the B sci-fi 3D movie. After what you told me, I'll let you tell the folks out there. Like, I'm like, oh, dude, I definitely got to get this movie now.
Okay, so this is I was trying to watch this earlier, and it's actually in 3D.
Has it been on like MST3K and shit? Because I swear I've seen bits and pieces of it.
I'm pretty sure it's been on there before. But okay, so like this movie's coming to a brand new 3D Blu-ray, and it will also play regular as well. But as you can see here, if you see the back, it says, when this movie made its debut in 1953, the reviews were so bad, director Phil Tucker attempted suicide. Today, it's recognized as one of the best bad films ever made. So the director tried to kill himself. He had so many bad reviews of this movie. Oh man! And I mean, look at it.
It's a bubble-headed gorilla. He
Yeah, he's just a gorilla.
Looks like a GoBot these days. Perfectly normal.
I was actually watching a little bit of this before I put it on, and like you said, it's in 3D. I didn't have 3D glasses on, so my eyes were getting really
Steven
bad.
corrected me. Terminal Velocity, that's right. It was the Charlie Sheen one.
Charlie
Drop
Sheen.
Zone was the one with Wesley Snipes, and I got those two mixed up too.
There you go.
So there was the title problem and then the two plots that were similar, but yeah.
So if you're looking for one of the best bad movies ever made, it's coming soon.
Yeah, I gotta get that one.
Yeah, I gotta get that one too. I was watching some of it earlier. It's crazy. It's like these whatever species that is that he's called a Roman. It's just an ape with a sci-fi head. They've like apparently wiped out Earth except for like 8 people, and he's trying to find them. And then he falls in love with one of the last remaining chicks. So.
Yeah, that might have to be one we'll have to coordinate because we've talked about that sometimes where we'll try and coordinate movies that we've seen. It's try to talk about at the same time so we're not staggered. I'm gonna like talk about the same movie 3 weeks in a row. But
I know, this is crazy. So we got to coordinate a little better like that. We do. But yeah, that movie.
Yeah, I should have watched Pale Rider a week earlier. Then it would have been better. But yeah,
I think I got mine before you though. So
that was part of the problem. Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes with deliveries, man.
It was because it was my fault because I assumed because one time Kino went out of their way for me that they would do this all the time. That was my mistake. Because when I did the sale once, I ordered Mystery Men, I think it was, with one of the sales. And they sent my sale out first, all the stuff I ordered in the sale, and then sent me Mystery Man separately when it came out. So I thought, I just assumed they would just send the movies out as they would come out. So I ordered a bunch of pre-ordered movies together. Well, what I found out after talking to somebody directly at Kino was that what they were doing was they were just holding all those movies until everything was out. Then they were sending them to me. I'm like, oh. So he's like, yeah, from now on, if you want them, on the date, you have to either pay the shipping and handling or order enough other stuff that's already out, and then you'll get them on that date. He's like, yeah, they must have just did it at that time because you had such a large order or whatever. But yeah. So, yeah. No, I probably own at least 50% or better of Kino's collection already.
I know. I own a lot.
Those bastards have really got me. Like,
they get the best. It's like even like thinking of movies that
sales also
exactly the sales and like when you think of a movie that you don't think should be on a Blu-ray or like did that ever get a Blu-ray? Sure enough, Kino has that Blu-ray, and you're just like, why do you do this?
Yeah. So unfortunately, we haven't had any recent Kino announcements, but I'm assuming we'll get some soon. It's been a little bit.
Yeah, I think that like we talked before was the Rent-A-Cop with Burt Reynolds, The Bus Stop, and now Terminal Velocity was like the latest Kino title.
Yeah, releases. I mean bigger ones though. I'm talking about
there's been nothing huge at all.
Yeah,
I think Face Off was their last one they announced.
Yeah, that's true. We haven't got that yet. So.
Yeah, so
Marathon Man, I'm still waiting on. When does that doesn't come out till the 28th? So all right.
Yeah.
So that still hasn't come out yet.
Yep.
But I did get Italian Job and a couple other ones I just haven't got a chance to watch yet.
Same here. I got some I need to get to watching and some I need to buy.
They got Serpico up for pre-order now too. It looks like.
Oh yeah, Serpico. Nice.
That doesn't come until the 18th of April, but yeah, we talked about that one like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I did get the missing in action ones too, but I just haven't watched.
Oh yeah, the three. I think that's
the
out.
3-pack. Yeah.
I need to get that. But yeah, I think that's really about it. I think as far as I remember,
think we missed anything that you hadn't really discussed already before.
Yeah, I don't think we discussed it. I think we got everything that was new.
The Superman set, but we've already talked about those.
Superman set. They should. All they got is artwork, and I did look at that Star Trek. It does look like he's got glasses.
I know. You see what I mean? It's like they're not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
This is some of the worst, shoddiest art I've ever seen.
It's bad. It's bad. Seriously, guys, after check out the artwork for the Star Trek Next Generation movies, the box set. Zoom in on Data. He's got regular like my style glasses, like these type of glasses on, like blurred into his skin. It's weird. So, yeah. I just wait for the Kino 15.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Between the $15 for like There are other sales. That's what kills me, because you'll get going and you're like, oh, $6, $9, $7, $5 for Blu-rays and shit.
Yeah.
And like you said, the 4Ks are 10, $15 at sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, you're spending $300, but you're getting 30 fucking movies.
Yeah.
You know, or more. And it's crazy.
They're like, if you spend $75, you get free shipping. Like, okay.
Well, that's what got me into my mess to begin with. So, like, I have to sit there and decide, do I want to do it this way? So I'm trying again with, I think Marathon Man is the first one. I'm trying again with Amazon. So we'll see how they fuck that one up.
Yeah. But that is it for all the coming soon to Blu-ray or 4K releases.
I got one other thing to gripe about, though.
Oh, go ahead, gripe away.
Every single, it's every company now, every one of them. What is it with you guys? Every movie I get, I got to pull out and wipe off. Halfway through the movie or so, the movie will fuck up because there's something on the disc. Everyone, whether it's Shout Factory, Kino, what the hell? I don't know what they're doing with the discs.
It's, I guess, who's ever.
It's just a minor gripe. Yeah, it's just a minor gripe, but like every time I get a new 4K Blu-ray, I always have to wipe it off at some point in the film.
Nonsense, man.
And what pisses me off is most of them don't remember where you are. That's what really makes me mad. Because then I got to go fucking searching through the disc and wait through all the crap in the beginning. And yeah, that's my biggest gripe of the week. The
one thing a VHS does have better on some of the newer Blu-ray 4K titles is it will remember your spot.
Well, and most older Blu-rays did.
Yeah, most older ones still do. Yeah.
Yeah.
But with all that being said, I think we covered all the latest news and everything. And so, Tom, do you want to go first, or you want me to go first? However you want to do this. I'll let you go first. I know you can't show it, so if you want to share a picture, if you just want to go ahead and talk,
this is one I already brought on before, but we didn't really get a chance to discuss it because, Robert's here. And, when Robert's here.
Exactly.
You're just going to talk about whatever Robert comes up with because he's a fountain of knowledge and history when it comes to film and television.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I finally, for the first time ever, saw The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3. And I found it a very, very entertaining, nail-biting, well-paced potboiler out of the 70s, early 70s, 74. I'm trying to recall who directed it, but it's a great film. Of course, Walter Matthau, Robert Shaw, Hector Elizondo are part of the cast. Great cast. The basic storyline is these guys hijack a train. Part of it is their whole thing is they're trying to get back at the city. And they want $1 million. Of course, that doesn't sound like a lot now, but back then that was a lot of money.
$1 million.
$1 million. And not only that, they're being relentless on how much time they want it. And not only that, they're, X amount of feet below the street. So it's and they've got complete control of the car, but as everybody's kind of looking at it, it's like, how do these guys expect to escape? But it's a hell of a caper film, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know if I'd really call it a caper film, because there's not necessarily anything being stolen per se, but it has that kind of a feel to it. But at the same time, it is a very unique kind of film. I mean, it doesn't have your typical kind of like, I would have to say this is probably one of the first movies I got to imagine of the time where you had the very suave bad guys. Like the bad guys remind me of Die Hard. What's his face?
Oh yeah,
Hans Gruber.
Alan Rickman.
Alan Rickman kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like to where you finally get a villain that is clearly a villain, and they're not going to change in that respect. But you kind of like this villain, right? Like that's kind of the thing. And yeah, this is a great film. The scan is decent. Unfortunately, the sound has the problem. The same thing with the Death Wish one, where they have a 5.1 track on it, but it's just simply the sound spread out to the front two channels, and that's it. There's no separation whatsoever, which sucks. Because this movie, if anything, really like Death Wish, whatever. This movie should have had a new soundtrack added to it. Because come on. It's an action kind of with the train aspect of it and all that kind of, like you want that atmosphere, right?
Right. You want to
Death
hear that like
Wish.
in the background, like you're in a train station.
Really, yeah. Out of Death Wish, other than the great score, all you're going to get out of a larger sound field is just some more gunshots here and there, maybe some cityscapes, which are nice, but overall not necessary. This movie, it deserved it a little bit more. I was disappointed in that respect, but Universal did the scan, so the scan is actually much better than the Death Wish scan, to be honest with you. But you can tell the movie's a little aged, and I don't know how well the original negative was taken care of, but I mean, it's not like nearly damaged or anything. Like you can tell most of the movie is still from the negative, and it looks good. So it's just definitely a 74 film shot on, limited budget, not like a high budget film, but definitely is not like a high budget disaster film at the time, even though the poster there kind of makes you think that.
Yeah, it does like Earthquake,
Exactly.
1975.
And what's funny is this is, of course, the year before Shaw was in Jaws too. So like, yeah. So that's 2 years in a row. He had some, big films. And I can't remember what year The Sting come out, but I know that was really close to it too. So then I went and I figured, you know what? I'm going to check out the remake. I've never seen it. And it happened to be on Netflix. So I watched it. It's one of Tony Scott's last films. And I got to say, it wasn't bad. It was not too bad. I mean, and there's going to be a pattern you'll see tonight. And I'm not going to say it now, but you'll see the pattern form later on. Denzel Washington, not exactly the same kind of character as Walter Matthau. But what I liked is the way that they updated these characters. Now, I don't know if this was based on a book or somebody, if somebody knows in the chat. I know very little about the movies and where the story came from or anything like that. And I guess there's a previous remake according to Coley and Rogue.
Yeah.
I did not know that either.
Neither did I.
Like in this case, like Denzel's character is way different than Walter Matthau's character. In the original version, Walter Matthau's character is he's an agent that works in the station, so he has some abilities as far as like close to being a cop, as long as his jurisdiction's basically in the subway line, but he also runs one of the main boards. Now, in this one, they set you up as he's basically the same kind of character at first, but then you learn he's actually somebody who should be much higher up in the system, but he's been demoted while he's being investigated and on trial for supposedly taking a bribe, and this feeds into the film later. And, of course, John Travolta's character is much more... That's the thing, is they add a lot more layers and complications to these characters, the situation, how it goes down. A very well-done update. And John Travolta, one of his better performances, I'd say, too, because he pulls off what Robert Shaw did in the original, and that is make a very likable bad guy who knows that what he's doing is more about the principle than the cash itself, right? Like, it's kind of the whole thing with the first... And that's where I say it's kind of like a little bit of a reversal, but the same kind of thing with Alan Rickman's character, Die Hard. But no, I was actually surprised how much I actually enjoyed this film. Being a remake as it was, and I the supporting cast was great. Luis Guzman and some of the other people that are in it are great. So yeah, it wasn't too bad. And of course, I always loved Tony Scott compared to his brother. Anyway, full disclosure. So I'm not gonna make any beefs about that.
I've never seen the remake, so I might have to check
weird!
it out.
And Vincent D'Onofrio was in that one. I did not know that. And Edward James Olmos. Holy shit!
Looks like they're in 1998.
I want to see that.
Now you got to find that one, Tom.
I do, especially I wish I'd have had it for tonight, because you'll see another. Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah,
I'll explain it all when we get there, because I love both of those actors actually. And of course, I've met not met face to face, but met an interview Edward James Olmos. So yeah,
I've met Edward James Olmos in person.
Yeah, for a while they did, and it's just sad with Tony. Tony took his own life, man. It just sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. Did I ever tell you about my Edward James Olmos story where I've met him?
No, you haven't.
I don't know if I think I've told it before, but I don't know if I ever told you. So I was at a convention up in Cleveland in the building it's the building that was the Daily Planet was designed on from, because where the artists live, Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, they looked at the building. So we had a Superman convention there, and Edward James Olmos was there for Battlestar Galactica, because they had all those. And I'm standing in line waiting to get my picture, because I took a picture with the guy that played Lex Luthor on Smallville, Michael Rosenbaum. Right. So I met him, and I just met him. I just talked to him, and I was waiting in line to get my picture. And here comes Edward James Olmos, just like walks up right in front of me, taps me on the shoulder. He's like, "Excuse me, young man." And I'm like, "Okay." And so he goes to the guy that was there, and he's like, "Do you know where the bathroom is?" And the guy's like, "Yeah, you just go down to the left down here." And he goes, "Okay, thank you." And he waves at me, and he walks away. And the dude that was like running the place looks at me, and goes, "That was awesome." And I'm just like, yeah, that's cool. So that's how awesome. I basically met Edward James Olmos for the most part. So it was pretty cool, actually.
He asked my friend where the bathroom was.
I know. I'm just standing there. He taps me on the shoulder. He's like, "Excuse me, young man."
Oh Lord! So what do you got for us?
Yeah, so that was my little Edward James Olmos story. But okay, I'll go on to my.
So I don't know if you ever even seen the way you didn't really talk about the movie. So have you even seen Taking a Pelham 1, 2, 3?
I've seen the original, but I cannot remember most of it because it has been quite a few years. But I do remember it being a pretty decent movie with Walter Matthau and all them. Yeah, I do remember it for parts of it. But yeah, I can't really speak too much on it because it's been a long time. But I've never seen the remake, so I was kind of curious about that.
Remakes, as we just learned.
Yeah, remakes. I did not know there was 2 actually.
Yeah, so. And actually, it's one of the rare Walter Matthau, dramatic turns that it's not.
Yeah, that's who I remember the most.
I don't remember there being anything in there for even just like a side, like ribbing of a joke here and there. Even it's a pretty serious film, like from beginning to end. It takes it very seriously. I mean, he has a few moments where he has to argue with some people and stuff like that, but I mean, as far as it goes, he does a really great job. And of course, I've seen him do I've seen him do dramatic roles before, but. Never usually with this. At this time, he was more well known for his comedy. Obviously, I'm sure.
Yeah. That's good. That's why I remember taking him. Basically, I don't really remember a whole lot of Robert Shaw, but I remember him basically because I remember I loved, Grumpy Old Men, Out to Sea, and so when you I like Walter Matthau, and you go back and you say, oh, this is a really good Walter Matthau because he's not being funny, he's being really serious. So I really remember that, but I don't remember much else.
Well, and he ends up being the proactive hero in the movie too, much the same way Denzel does, but in a different way. And the ending is similar, but in a different way too. And that's what I liked about the 2 versions is that, the first one is more of a simplistic, straightforward kind of look at it. And like I said, the newer one, which of course it would be that way. I mean, it does a great job modernizing. Oh yeah, James Gandolfini does a great job as the mayor in it too. I forgot.
Oh yeah, he's in the remake.
Yeah, as the mayor. Which is kind of cool too. So it's got a great cast. And Tony Scott is really good with momentum. That's the thing that Tony Scott is always good. And that's why I say with Top Gun is it's not a great movie, but it works because it's easy to watch.
Yeah.
Right. There's no plot driving it. And that's what I say the second film is better because it has a plot driving it. The first film is just shit happened. Oh, we got to go do this thing.
Yeah. Pretty much, that first one.
But its momentum is so that you just keep watching it because it just keeps you invested, and that's what Tony Scott can do. Much better than his brother. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to shit on Ridley, but I've always had this thing where I feel like Ridley has been overrated and overpraised, and he has 3 good movies. Tony Scott has consistently made good movies, whether or not they've been big, huge hits. You can still sit down and go, you know what? That was a pretty decent fucking flick. He knows how to make a good, well-paced action movie, knows how to shoot it, knows how to put the camera in places where you want to. Beverly Hills Cop 2 is a great example. Beverly Hills Cop 1 is one of the worst directed films of all time as far as the cinematography goes, right? Look, I love the original director, but it looks like shit.
Right.
The first movie looks like shit. It looks like it was shot on an afterthought on a weekend with a really old camera, and it doesn't look the greatest. The 4K is the best it's ever looked and ever going to look. But you look at Beverly Hills Cop 2, and it looks like a slick action film that cost 10 times as much as it cost to make because of just how Tony Scott knows how to... Michael Bay owes his whole career to Tony Scott. Let's be fucking real.
Pretty much, yeah.
Now, if Ridley had just been Tony's DP, that might have been a different story. You're probably right, Joey. I could agree with that.
All style, no substance.
At least Blade Runner would have at least been able to follow the storyline, I bet, if Tony would have directed it instead. No offense to anybody who likes that movie, but I'm sorry. It is pretty to look at, but still have a hard time. If you asked me to explain the plot, I don't think I could.
It's a guy hunting down replicants.
Yeah, is he one or not? I don't know.
I don't know. With paper unicorns.
Unicorns.
I do like the movie though, but yeah, I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, I do too. But I'm just saying, like, I mean, the first time I watched Blade Runner, I'm just like, what the fuck did I just watch?
It's a
and talk about remakes right there. Man on Fire, also another remake of a lesser known film that I've never seen, but people that have seen both have said that the remake with Denzel is really well done in comparison to the original two.
Interesting. I've seen Man. I think is that the one with Dean Cain's in Man on Fire? Or is that another Denzel movie I'm thinking?
Might be. I don't know. Man on Fire is the one where he has to go rescue Dakota Fanning, if I remember
Dakota Fanning. I think Dean Cain's in that one. He plays a bad cop, maybe. I don't know. I don't remember. But I know
Dan says the original is pretty cool, but it's a different level. Exactly. The original is Scott Glenn. That's right.
I did not know that. I didn't know there was an original version of that. So
it's kind of like Heat. You know, it's like one of those movies you didn't realize was a remake because the original was lesser known and all that kind of business.
Yeah. But, now, see, that's the type of movies you want remade.
Yeah. Great plots, but just didn't go anywhere, you know.
And that's true.
Out of Time is the one he says you're thinking of with Dean Cain. Yeah, that.
Out of Time. Right. Okay. Yeah, because he plays like a bad cop, and they're doing like, I don't know, somebody kidnapping again or something. I don't know. I don't remember, but I remember that. Okay.
Nah, but Denzel is just one of those actors. Like, I'm surprised I haven't seen this. I forgot he was in it. Because it's like, I'll watch just about anything he's in. So, like, yeah,
he's a great actor.
And of course, you got John Travolta. Especially when he plays bad guys, he's amazing. Like, if it wasn't for him in Broken Arrow, that movie's unfucking watchable.
Oh, I know. I love Broken Arrow. How bad of a movie it is.
Yeah, just because he plays such chew the scenery bad guys in those movies. Same thing with the more recent one that come out. I don't know if you've seen it yet, The Fanatic or whatever.
Oh, I've heard about it, but I've been thinking about seeing it.
It is one of the greatest, worst movies ever made. And Fred Durst directed it.
Yeah,
Devin Sawa was in it. And John Travolta is playing this part like he's going for an Oscar performance. But I don't think he realizes the movie he's in necessarily. And then you'll like it. You'll like it on a level like I did. Like, you're just like, oh my God, this is just fucking cheesy, bad shit, crazy bad movie.
I love it.
Yeah. I mean, you already know the main plot, but like, he is just, Travolta goes for it in the movie. Like, I'm not a huge Travolta fan on any level, but like, when you get him in the right parts, I'm just like, he is entertaining as fuck to watch. This is one of those movies where he's just entertaining as fuck to watch. Kind of like with Pelham 1, 2, 3. He amps up that I'm the cool bad guy thing, and it works for Travolta. That's the thing. That's the thing that works for Travolta. He has certain levels that he works in, and that's one of them. So
yeah, when you allow him just to rip, like with Face Off.
Face Off I was just gonna say, like with Face Off.
Yeah, Face Off for that. He's actually surprised me. He's earlier than I anticipated. Wow.
Hey, what's going on?
Well, his timing is perfect to give us his assessment of my killing. How well did I hack everybody up? And should they have gotten me to do the voice?
No voice was needed.
Oh, bother, I don't talk.
Watch the movie.
Oh, I guess he didn't like it.
No, I surprisingly had a good time.
No. Well, give us a little rundown without spoiling it real quick.
For those who don't know, he's talking about, of course, Blood and Honey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. I think, well, this is a Fathom Events type event, so you pretty much have like one day to really watch it. I think there are some theaters like showing it multiple days, but none near mine, so that was my only opportunity to see the movie in the theater. I actually quite enjoyed it. It's not a good movie objectively, but I liked it for that. This is the type of movie I think Greg would like.
Was there boobs?
one time.
Well, that's good enough for me.
Yeah. There was this one like super hot chick in the hot tub who should have honestly uh like if they showed her tits, that would have been amazing. Like that was like one of the more missed opportunities right there. Um how do I explain this without spoiling it?
Here's a good. This might help you a little bit. Gore
Okay.
porn, or thriller. Now, what he means,
Um
because I know you don't. I don't know if you know gore porn.
I
It
know
basically
what gore
they
porn
just like
is.
tons of gore and
I
violence, and
know.
you know.
It's like the Terrifier movies.
Oh, so it's gore porn.
No, well, there is some, but it's balanced. At least
Because the
to me.
Terrifier movies get pretty nasty.
I know it's Blood and Honey's probably not as nasty as those movies. Like there are some disturbing stuff, but you probably have seen that in other things. Like it's fairly violent, and but it's like I said, it's balanced, right? Like it's
Okay.
not over the top. One of the things that impressed me about this movie was how beautifully shot it was.
All right.
I
That
did
sounds
not
good.
think it would look that good of a movie, but and it's not one that needed to look as good as it did, but I was impressed from that point. One of the creepiest things about the masks is that they like electronically move.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like they can like there's like some device that controls like the facial expressions and shit. It's fucking great.
Just like Puppeteer, like the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, very very much like that, which I thought was fantastic.
But did they speak? Did they actually speak?
Um, Pooh has one line and that's it, and Piglet is kind of like a ripoff of a Tuscan Raider, but it works. It works.
Huh?
Um, don't go in expecting like great acting or anything.
Well, it's a horror movie
Oh,
based on Winnie the Pooh.
bother.
Yeah, I know. Like if you're gonna be one of those guys, like oh, there's terrible acting. Don't take it that seriously. Like it's
Okay.
your typical like slasher movie.
Like what Joey says here. It's a Ridley Scott film. Beautifully shot.
And that means we're gonna get 20 fucking different versions of it.
Yeah. It is not a Ridley Scott film. It's not.
Did one of the versions have a unicorn? And then Pooh's going, why is there a unicorn here?
What is it? Am I a replicant?
I must not be awake. Or am I a replicant? I don't know. I'm just gonna go eat some honey.
It's not as beautifully shot as a Ridley Scott film. I wouldn't go that far, but it is. I'm talking about like for like an indie film, like an indie horror film. It looked.
Well, it only
really
cost
good.
like a couple $100,000, wasn't it? Like $600,000, I
Yeah.
think was the budget.
It
Something
was
like
like
that.
really
I know,
super
like
cheap.
no, yeah, I know, but like in
Or
the
maybe even
theater,
3 or something like that. I can't. Maybe I might be getting it mixed up with the other one you're just talking about too. But yeah, I know both of these movies were under $1 million. Is my point. The Terrifier one and the Pooh one.
Yeah. It visually looked pretty good. Like it does not need to look as good as it did, but it did.
Look, I'll be honest with you. Digital filming has made big budget movies look like shit compared to like indie films now look like big budget movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it kind of
I'll bring that up a little later.
There we go.
Oh, okay.
All right.
That's
It
interesting.
didn't seem, it wasn't so bad with Pelham 123, but I also watched it on Netflix and it was the open map version and all that business. I just found out before the show.
Oh
I
boy.
posted in the back here that it was, no, that's actually a good thing. That means I saw more of the picture than I normally would. It just means for the 235 version, they just crop it off is all.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily the way Tony wanted us to see it, but hey.
It is what it is, right?
Yeah.
But runners, did you hear? Me and Tom have 3.
Huh?
Go ahead, Tom.
No, I just said,
I say me and Tom have 3 each. He showed his first one. So, how many you got?
I got 3.
Okay, good.
Good
Go ahead
boy.
and share your first title.
All right, my first title is a relatively new movie. It actually came out last year. It bombed in the box office. I saw it in the theater. I was actually alone.
Black Adam?
No. No.
Hey,
There
it's close,
were
wasn't
I? No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
You're not even close.
Damn.
No, I was in the theater by myself. This was the movie I watched before.
It's finally Debbie Does Dallas?
Debbie Does Dallas?
No. No.
I'm sure like 12 people haven't sent Runner a copy of Debbie Does Dallas yet.
Yeah, please just do it just so they can shut the fuck up. It's nominated for some Oscars. I don't know if that's ringing anything.
Babylon.
No, that's already on disc?
No, it's not out on 4K yet.
Oh.
But there is a movie that just got a 4K. And guesses to any other?
He got Woman King, didn't he?
No.
He got the Woman King. That's what he did.
No, I will not buy that.
No, I'm kidding. That didn't get nominated for any Oscars.
No. Okay. He's a very well-known director.
Is it The Fablemans? I didn't think that was coming out till another couple of weeks. It was. Oh, it did come out this week. Why didn't I get mine yet? The dirty bastards.
There was one more copy left, and I snagged it.
That's why I waited to get it on digital. I'm like, oh, it's coming out soon enough.
Yeah, it came out a lot quicker than I thought.
Yeah, so that's why I just waited. I should have had it already. Should have had it today or yesterday.
Yeah, no, I saw this in the theater for pretty cheap. I was alone in the theater, which was kind of nice. There was nobody around, and it was relaxing. I actually kind of like The Fablemans.
I need to see. I've heard decent enough stuff about it.
Oh, I'm not getting it till Friday. Thank you, Amazon, assholes.
Amazon, they're making me mad on their shipping.
Oh, it's shipped already, according to them too.
Are you having problems too, Greg? Because
yes, everybody's been bitching about them lately. Their 2-day shipping has turned into like a week shipping now.
I know. Well, I ordered something from them. It's free 1-day shipping. It'll be here the next day. Oh, it's been delayed.
No. Apparently, well, my situation's worse. I bought 4 movies, right? And the problem is the shipping got canceled, and it's gonna take 3 to 5 business days to get my fucking refund. Like, why don't you just give me the fucking shit?
It's crazy. And also, real quick before, I want to thank everybody. I did not know I was at 7.77K subs. Random Brad said divine guidance.
Oh, wow. That's even weirder with what's coming up next.
I know. I did not realize that at the moment. So thank you all. Keep it growing. Oh, by the way, speaking of which, a movie called Debbie Does Demons is coming by... it's coming soon. Culture Shock releasing. We'll release it. Donald Farmer, the guy who did Shark Exorcist, has directed it. So, just letting you guys know. But go on, Runner.
No, but I surprisingly like The Fablemans. It's not going to be a movie for everyone. If you're someone who likes films and wants to be a filmmaker and all that sort of stuff, then I would recommend this movie for you. If you are someone who likes to watch movies, like if you just watch mainly like popcorn flicks and you just want to sit back, have a good time, if this is not the movie for you. If like you don't give a shit about how movies are made, you just like watching them, this is not it.
See, I'm interested in this one because I liked 5/25/77, and I was wondering if this is like Spielberg's version of that. And
it's funny, I was thinking the same thing, Greg. We should maybe do a stream on that after we get it.
Yeah, I have to get it.
So let me know when you get it, because we both have watched 5/25, and then once we watch this, we can compare them, I think.
Yes. We'll have to do that.
Maybe we can get Chris Gore or something for that.
Well, that'd be awesome.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Awesome. Because I'm interested in that, because I kind of feel like Spielberg saw 5/25/77 when he was making it. Was like, you know what, I could do that.
Considering how many years it took to make 5/25, that's very possible.
Yeah. So that's what I was curious about. But
And
it's glad to know that you liked it.
Yeah, I surprisingly enjoyed it a lot more than I thought. I do kind of agree with Dan Blackroyd. He is kind of getting petty nominations now. This is honestly his best film in a long ass fucking time. I'm not even kidding.
It's his most personal film probably since Schindler's List, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like
maybe Private Ryan.
Yeah, that's true.
But when it comes to like, I haven't seen all of Steven Spielberg's films, but like the last good one that I could think of that I've seen of his, like his last good movie that I can think of was maybe Minority Report.
Well, Lincoln was okay. But it didn't even feel like a Spielberg movie. It felt more like an Oliver Stone movie or something.
I think I think my parents got the Blu-ray or something like when I was younger, and I tried watching it and I walked away. I just thought it was too dark. It's
not very entertaining. Yeah. The other movie I would say that the last time he made a movie that was remotely close to classic Spielberg that most people forget about is Catch Me If You Can.
Oh yeah, with Leo.
I still need to watch that. It didn't really interest me.
That is a great fucking flick, dude.
I know that
fucking flick.
I know a lot of people don't like this one. I kind of enjoyed it, and I understand it's not great, and it is sort of like the new Space Jam movie. Ready Player One. I kind of enjoyed it.
I had
the problem I had with it is Steven Spielberg either needed to get the fuck out of his own way or let somebody else direct it.
Right.
Yeah. It would have been
that is the problem with the movie, because he is so obsessed with not trying to feel like he's trying to. He has this problem with accepting I'm sure in his personal life he doesn't have this problem, but in the movie itself, it's like when somebody's making a big deal out of you and you're like acting all humble about it, but you really are glad that they noticed and acknowledged it. Like, that's the problem with that movie. That feels like that. Like, you have this issue.
Like when they do that.
Well, it's just like, because the movie is predicated on nostalgia of that era that Spielberg is a huge component of.
Mm-hmm.
And he's almost too close to it.
Yeah, and from what I understand, because I've not read the book, because I've heard the movie's way better than the book, actually.
Peter Jackson or something should have directed it.
Yeah.
I heard
from what I understand is like the references to the 80s in the books weren't as many Spielberg references. Like he purposely, like they had to change the references and then most of them became Spielberg references. So from what I understand. It's
not just that, it's like all the properties, and it is his Who Framed Roger Rabbit of that era, because he pulled in Universal and Paramount into the deal. But I have issues with it because it's like, okay, this is supposed to be a nostalgia of this certain era, but yet you're only using the modern versions of these characters like the Ninja Turtles and Freddy and a few of the other ones that popped up.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, Brian, Schindler's List was probably his peak.
Yeah.
It's all kind of downhill from there. Minority Report. War of the Worlds really pissed me off because he even went against something he said he'd never do. He said he'd never make a movie where the aliens are bad guys. So yeah, like I guess Spielberg is the thing. Here's the thing: no matter how you feel about him, no matter which way you cut it, he is the greatest director of all time. Mm-hmm. In a sense that as far as, and I'm not saying as far as your personal taste, like nobody has to agree with me there, but as far as pound for pound, the movies that he put out and the influence and power and the 80s were Steven Spielberg in cinemas, right? Like,
absolutely,
he inspired that entire generation of filmmakers. Every movie was Spielbergian, like,
yeah, everyone.
It was just a thing. And if he even produced a movie, it was automatically a hit. Like, the only time he faltered really was like 1941 and a couple other minor things here and there. But like outside of that, like, just between Jaws and the influence that had going into the 80s, and Close Encounters, the influence that had going into the 80s, the fact that E.T. was the biggest movie of all time for a long time, like a very long time. People forget how long that movie was number one.
And that's like you said, like even with Starman, that was very Spielbergian. Even John Carpenter says so. The
It's
last
John
Starfighter,
Carpenter's Spielberg movie.
yeah, the last Starfighter, that's very Spielbergian. It influenced everything.
Absolutely. I mean, then you get into Raiders with George and everything. Right. I mean, just and the stuff that he produced, right? Like Gremlins, Goonies, Inner Space. I mean, the list goes on and fucking on. Batteries not included.
Yep.
I mean, just so many. Arachnophobia. Yep. I mean, then we get to Who Framed Roger Rabbit. If it wasn't for him, that movie never would have happened.
True.
He got Warner Brothers and Disney, something that will never happen again, to play ball. And it only happened just because of him. He moved mountains in Hollywood. That's impossible to do. You'll never get something like that ever again. Yeah. Where you'll ever see Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny on the same screen at the same time ever again.
Nope. And you know what's sad about this, Brian Barth, is I actually enjoyed his J.J. Spielberg movie. What was that?
Super 8.
8, what was it?
Super 8.
Super 8, yeah. I actually like Super 8, and I thought, that's pretty cool, but I think maybe that had a little more to do with Spielberg than it did with JJ, because after that, JJ didn't do much at all, and he's just horrible.
And then Tim's not wrong. I mean, he has bought into the political bullshit of Hollywood big time.
Yeah.
He is not the same person he used to be.
No.
I am convinced that somewhere out there is a planet where the original Michael Jackson, the original Tim Burton, and the original Steven Spielberg, among many others, are sitting there where we got stuck with doppelgangers sometime in the 90s.
That's actually a big conspiracy theory. Have you ever heard that?
I believe it, because for some reason, especially with Michael Jackson, like, he physically changed at that point. You're like, I don't even know if that's the same dude.
If you ever seen the movie The Island by Michael Bay with Scarlett Johansson and
no, but I know what it is.
Yeah, supposedly that's the big conspiracy theory, if you believe into this, is like once these people get to a certain point and they no longer play ball with the Illuminati or whatever, they're cloned and they're replaced with their clone who will listen to them, and that's why these people change and look different and stuff. Like the real Britney Spears has died like 3 times, and this is like the 4th version. That's why she's crazy.
So, yeah, James Cameron too. Yeah,
James Cameron.
James Cameron got swapped out with an alien that's obsessed with the water. They saw the abyss in space, and they're like, no, too much.
I mean, this is you could go down a rabbit hole looking this up. I'm like, I'm not looking this up.
John Lennon's out there somewhere with Elvis hanging out, going, man, I'm glad we got out of there when we did.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll say this. I think the stuff I know Greg and Tom will like about.
Yeah, imagine if we were still there.
No, but...
sorry, I couldn't know.
No, it's fine. Whatever. No, like
Madonna's one of them too, Joey.
There's a decent amount of classic Spielberg, like I wouldn't call them references, but like the way things are shot and the way things like visually look. Like there's a scene where the Fableman kid is like a photographer for this beach party in high school, and literally the way it's shot and the way it looks literally reminds you of Jaws.
Oh, cool.
And even
somebody had told me you'll see the Jaws homage and some other things in it. I can't remember. Chris, I think, was telling me.
Yeah, there's a Jaws homage. There's like some E.T. stuff, mostly towards the family aspect of it. You get a lot of E.T., but yeah, like this is like, that's why I believe that this is the best film. Not because it's so much his personal like story and all that. I think it's just the elements, like he sort of brings you back to kind of what makes Spielberg the great director that he was, like that's what I like about this movie.
I'm excited to see it. I got to get me a copy of it. Yeah, and I really seriously.
Hear that, Amazon, you fuckers.
Yeah, exactly. I'm pissed off at Amazon. They delayed my fucking computer too.
And I'll be honest. The cast,
snap! That's why you shouldn't have ordered from Amazon.
I know. I got to start ordering better.
This is one you should have took the plunge and either went to a computer shop or right to a Best Buy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Runner. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, that's fine. I'll say this. The ending, the very end is fucking great. There's a maybe Tom already knows this, but there's a director who plays a director. In the very end.
No, but yeah. Sadly, I've only known a couple people who've seen the film, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm really interested to see it because I do want to compare and contrast it to 525/77 because I really feel like these two movies are going to be very similar.
What else? So the casting is all right. I'll say that much. The kid who plays young Spielberg or whatever, I think he's pretty good. He's pretty good for the most part. Paul Dano's fine as the dad. Michelle Williams is okay. Seth Rogen's in it, and don't be too worried. I'll say that much. don't be too.
I can't laugh like him.
Yeah, My God, that's the first time I heard he's in the movie. Why is he in everything? What the fuck? Who the fuck did Seth Rogen blow? Seriously,
Spielberg.
Evidently, I guess he's finally getting. Yeah.
You know what's funny? I had no idea he was in the movie until I saw it, and I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm like, why is he in this movie? And then I watched it, and I'm like, okay, this isn't.
I am funnier than Seth Rogen.
No, but like he tries his best not to be Seth Rogen. I think he tries to distance that type of personality that he has into this.
Why couldn't it have been Jonah Hill?
Oh,
at least I like Jonah Hill.
Yeah.
And Jonah Hill's a prick. Like, I can tell he's a prick in real life. I've heard more than enough stories about him. But, like, Jesus Christ, like, Seth might even be the nicest motherfucker in the world in real life. But what the hell did he do to deserve the career he's gotten? I don't get it.
He basically fell in with a lot of popular people and rode their success till they got canceled.
Yes, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
The talent.
The talent. Yeah. But yes, I am very interested in seeing the Fablemans. I'm glad to know that it sounds pretty good, other than Seth Rogen.
You
and I even use that term loosely when it comes to him, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, the problem with Seth Rogen, really, I'll say, is that he's just there. Like, the fact that he was cast.
Evan Goldberg is another reason for Seth. That's the other thing.
He's
rode the curtails of much more people who have much more talent than he does. I'm sorry, Runner. I didn't mean to interrupt you like that.
No, I agree. No, I agree. But like, as the movie went on, he didn't bother me completely.
Oh, so he's in it for more than just one scene. Great. Well, of course he's in it. I'm not going to bring it up, but if anybody's seen this week's South Park, we know why he's in it. Well, that reminds me, there's a new one tonight.
There you
go. Oh, there we go.
Sorry. That's the way Tom's brain works. You want to understand how Tom's brain works? It's like that. It's like a dog. Oh, yeah, this, huh? What? Oh, shit. Steak's good. Huh? Oh, yeah. Yeah, what? Huh? That's tonight. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's like you could see it, like, Tom was like excited for this movie, and then Seth Rogen, and he's like, what? Now I'm done.
Nope, don't like. Red flag. Move away.
No, but like, he's not horrible in it.
It's too late. I already got the movie on the way. It's just, I hope he's not too bad in it.
No, I'm just saying it won't affect.
Yeah, I never used to hate him. That's the thing. It's just he got, because I liked him in things like 40-Year-Old Virgin. I thought Zack and Miri Make a Porno was probably arguably one of Kevin Smith's better films. I mean, even to this day, even though I can't stand his dumbass because he's a jerk.
Yeah.
I will still give him credit for that. Like, Zack and Miri is a movie I've talked about making for a long time. The only difference between his version and my version is, in the version I was trying to write, was the porno accidentally became this huge success story. That's the problem.
No.
Like, they were doing it on a lark just to pay their rent kind of thing. and it ended up becoming this thing, and everybody's kind of coming at them. Like it's a little bit different story in the end, but like I had a very similar concept that I was working on for a while. I'm like, fuck! As soon as Kevin Smith announced what he was making, I'm like, damn it!
Oh,
There goes that idea.
That sucks.
But it was called The Greatest Porno Ever. Is what was the title of mine.
It's a good name.
Because like
I
the whole
that.
joke is like it becomes like a huge blockbuster hit, gets nominated for all these awards. So all the people that were in the porno were pissed because they were never expected to become this huge thing. So now they're getting all kinds of attention. Plus they want a piece of the pie. Because they think there's this big pie involved, and it's this whole like thing with the characters, and like it was kind of, there were similar beats to it. Because like, I mean, the only thing I think is different is like I had two of the characters getting together in it, but I don't think they were like living together and all that kind of shit to begin with. They just both needed money for different reasons. Was kind of the whole thing, and they were like struggling independent filmmakers, and they're like, look, we'll never get them. Because actually, no, that's what it was. Never mind. It had nothing to do with it. My version was they were trying to get a movie made, and they lost their funding. So like, well, we'll make a porno to get the funding to make the other movie. And the other movie didn't do shit, but the porno movie ends up becoming a success. That's what the whole plot was. Yes.
Good, I think it still could be made.
It's different enough. I might still be able to do it, but like if I do it in a different kind of vein, maybe.
Yeah, it could still work.
But also then I think, Barry Sonnenfeld did a film. I didn't realize it till later on. Tim just brought it up. The Last Picture Show is very similar. And then there was another movie that came out around the same time as it's kind of like The Producers, Bryant. There's a bit of that in there, but it's not that kind of a comedy. It was more of a tongue-in-cheek, darker-ish, but like sexier kind of comedy. But like, not in the goofball sense, really. Like more like in that area. You got to remember, I was watching a lot of Tarantino and stuff like that, so more wry, direct kind of stuff. Kevin Smith, for that matter. That's where it kind of resembled like some of that shit. Especially with some of the characters and stuff. But because I was writing a lot from that place. I was writing a lot of Tarantino, Kevin Smith-esque type dialogue and stuff.
I get you.
Yeah. No, it's might be something I could bring up again at some point. But there was another movie with Burt Reynolds. It was very similar to The Last Picture Show and Zack and Miri that came out at the same time. I can't remember the name of it. I'm sure.
Nice.
No, but that also came out and didn't help.
Yeah.
But somebody in the chat will remember. I bet you Tim or somebody will, or Steven will.
Yeah.
But it was about a little town, and they made a porno. I can't remember what the hell it was all for, but Burt Reynolds and some other people were in it. It was a little independent film, and it was really funny. It was a kind of a sweet comedy for what it was, but like, I can't remember the name of it.
I don't think I remember that one though.
It was way under the radar. Like, I don't even know how much of a theatrical release it got. No, not Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. Although that's a favorite of mine as well. But no.
I mean, Dolly Parton.
And I'm not even kidding on that. That's like growing up, that was a big one in my household. Yeah.
But Runner, any final words on The Fabelmans?
It has a title like The Producers, though, which is funky.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. The Experts or something. It's not. That's not it either, but it's something to that, like that.
Nobody's getting it, so hopefully it'll come eventually. Striptease. He was in Striptease, but I don't think that was it.
You got Vaseline all over you. I like the way it squishes between my toes.
Did she have a rack in that movie or what?
Yeah, I'm looking at Burt Reynolds movies because I could swore he's the one in it, but I could be wrong.
Runner, any final words?
Not really. I'd say definitely watch it, Greg.
I'm going to.
Yeah, I think like I'll say this, like Spielberg for me has been kind of like hit and miss of like more of his recent movies, which is why I haven't seen some of them. Like Ready Player One, I thought was okay. I saw it in the theater with friends and I had a good time. And then I saw it a second time and I didn't like it as much. But I thought the BFG was very average when I saw that. I don't know if any of you watched that, but
no, I haven't. Yeah,
I heard so many bad things about it. Yeah, that's one of the few I haven't seen of his.
My dad is into those types of movies, and he was excited to watch it, and I watched it with him, and I'm like, I didn't like it. I was like, I just thought it was, I didn't think it was that good. So like stuff like that, where it's like, oh my god, like Steven Spielberg's not going to be the same as he ever was, and don't get me started on Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
I don't know. Maybe Burt Reynolds wasn't in it. Maybe somebody else was, but it's a very similar plot.
Brian Barth said, was it the last producer?
No, I don't think so anymore.
But this is a good homage to some classic Spielberg right here. So
I'm definitely checking that out because I really do want to compare and contrast those two movies.
Yeah.
All right, that's cool. Well, I guess we'll move on to my first pick and why Tom's looking for that. Speaking of strippers and titties, from the Scott brothers to Steven Spielberg to Roger Corman.
The Amateurs, I think it is.
There you go,
the Amateurs. Yeah, I just had to type in "small town makes a porno" and it was the first thing that popped up. Sorry.
There you go, Amateurs. Continuing with that, I did not intend to buy this on VHS, but I bought it on VHS because the DVD was out of print and I didn't want to spend outrageous amounts of money. So I got Roger Corman Presents To Sleep with a Vampire. Now, this is the remake of The Dance of the Damned, which Shout Factory just put out. Yeah, what they just put out about the vampire. I enjoyed this one. This one is way better than Dance with the Damned. It sucks that my computer went down because I was going to do a video on this for Valentine's Day. It's freaking stars Scott Valentine, and it's a vampire and a chick falling in love or whatever. But yeah, this was a good one. I really enjoyed this one. It's a great little slice of Roger Corman, and I meant to turn this around for you guys. So enjoy that right there, if you can make it out.
I can see it's a G-string.
Exactly. No, the stars Charlie Spaulding is the female. She's in Puppet Master 2. She's got a hell of a rack. She is smoking hot in this movie. This one is good. I really enjoyed this version better than I did Dance with the Damned. Dance with the Damned comes off as a little more serious than this one, and like the vampire in that comes across as like old school type of vampires, rich and like a vampire, but he also is a little bit like a horny teenager in that. Like he's never really grown up. Plus, he has a story that explains that. In this one, Scott Valentine just plays it right off the bat like he's this really weird, creepy, grungy vampire. He's not even rich. So there's a big change in that. But the girl, the actress, Charlie, she plays the chick much better. You get into her character. It's got it's a great story to it. It's some of the shots are beat for beat exactly the same. And if I would have got a chance to film my review and go over this, I would have had this out by already. But I will have this. I will do a review for you guys. Hopefully next week I'll have it up. But this is a good Roger Corman one. And also I want to anybody that's watching, anybody in chat. They showed a preview for two movies at the beginning of this. Dracula Rising and Hard to Die. If anybody can give me the movie Hard to Die on VHS or DVD, because that's the only two things it's on right now, at a decent price, I will buy that, because that movie is outrageous. It's like $80 for the VHS and $200 for the DVD. So if anybody can give me a really good, way cheaper than that, I would love to find Hard to Die, because that movie looks absolutely crazy and I want to see it badly. So, but yeah, there's mine. If you guys want to see this, check it out. This is a good one. But yeah, I know there'd be no thoughts on that after the conversation we just had with all the other stuff, because that's the type of stuff I watch. It's, you know what, Joey, I know it can be hard, but if you ever watch My Demon Lover, which is my favorite Scott Valentine movie, check out that, and then check out To Sleep with the Vampire. He really tries to step out of his comfort zone, but he was never really that great of an actor to begin with, so he really never escaped that shadow of Family Ties. So no, Hard to Die is a Roger Corman, Jim Wynorski movie about women in a high rise. It's the female version of Die Hard, but it's these three or four women in a high rise running around in skimpy lingerie fighting a slasher. I want to see it so badly, and it's one I missed, and it's a shame that it is outrageously priced, or I would have bought it by now. But yeah, there. If you guys check it out, Sleep of the Vampire. I'll have a review coming soon for you guys, if you guys want to watch it. But Tom, you want to go ahead and talk about your next pick, because I know my pick wasn't going to be very much talked about there. So
yeah, I got a box from Shout Factory the other day, and speaking of movies that are remakes of movies, I got the new Magnificent 7 Collector's Edition 4K from Shout Factory. Now, I don't know when this scan was done. I wish I knew, because the 60th anniversary was in 2020. The 50th anniversary was the last time they did a newer version of it, and I had that one. That's the one that's in this other box set here that I have. I'll show a picture of now. Where'd it go? There it is. And this actually was when I had learned that there was sequels to the original movie.
I never knew there were sequels at all.
Because when I first saw this, I'm like, oh, it must be the movie and the TV series and shit like that. No, it turns out there's 3 movies I didn't know about. But Yul Brynner's only in one of them. But yeah, I think I watched them all, but I don't remember them very well. I started watching the second one for this review, but it just really lost my interest quick. It was a tougher watch.
It was really bad, because I know the first one is just kind of
boring. Oh yeah, the original one is a classic. And
yeah,
a
it's really
of mine.
great. Steve McQueen, man, badass.
Like, yeah, great cast. I mean, if you're gonna remake a film like Seven Samurai, this is how you do it. And I feel like this was a movie that changed the way Westerns, like this is that bridge from the up through the 1950s Westerns to the 1960s spaghetti type Westerns, more serious Westerns. And then when it first came out, this movie wasn't a huge success in the US. It was a big hit outside of the US. Then they re-released it a couple years later to much more success. And for a while, it had been the most showed film on network television, believe it or not.
Really?
I think that had been surpassed a couple years ago here recently by like things like It's a Wonderful Life and Wizard of Oz, maybe. But yeah, there was a time when the Magnificent 7, as far as when we only had a couple networks, was the most showed film on television. So yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, the soundtrack. How can you not mention the soundtrack, which is a character in and of itself?
Exactly.
Which for many kids that were older than me even may remember it more so as the Marlboro theme song, but no.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, can you hum a few of it? Because I think I remember that. Yep. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay, sorry. It's just when you said the Marlboro, I was like, yes, that's where I knew that song from.
Yeah, I think they used it later on for the beef. It's what's for dinner ads too. It's got a few different themes. Like that's the beauty of the Magnificent, and the beauty of the film is as the movie's building its team of 7, the theme builds up with it. Like first you just get the driving dun 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 when you first meet Yul Brynner and Steve McQueen, and they got a little bit of a variant in there, and then they add a little bit more layer to it until the end when you finally get dun 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 dun. The big huge, and I mean it influenced Western music from there on out too, right? Like everything was trying to be the Magnificent 7 after that. All the way up to Silverado. Like watch Silverado and tell me that is not trying to do the Magnificent
Silverado
7
is Magnificent 7. It's just with Kevin Costner and Danny Glover and all that. It's the same movie.
Well, Brian, that's a good question. Which is better, Seven Samurai or Magnificent 7? They're so different that the only thing that is the same, and this is a great way to make a remake, like the only thing that really is the same is the basic concept, right? You have a village of people who need to go get warriors to defend them, right? Now, the funny thing about the Magnificent 7 is the more throughout production, from what I've learned anyway, is that it changed because of certain things. Because I can't remember the original actor that was involved in it now offhand, but I guess he ended up suing everybody afterwards because he initially got the movie kicked off And then Yul Brynner originally came on as a director.
Oh, really?
And the studio's like, wait a minute, if we're going to have Yul Brynner involved in this, he's going to be in the movie. And he's going to play the lead role. And at that time, it pissed off, God, who was it?
I know Steve McQueen and Yul Brynner didn't get along.
Well, and Steve McQueen's got an equally interesting story about how he got involved, but I'm trying to remember the original actor who was involved.
No.
Somebody out there in the audience remembers, remind me. But anyway, this person actually, like I said, even later sued the studio and Yul Brynner himself about the whole thing.
Nice.
Anyway, then of course Steve McQueen, he was working on a show at the time, and he couldn't get out of his contract, but he really wanted to do this movie really fucking bad.
Yeah.
He's like, the part is tailored for me. Right. So he's like, okay, what do I do? So he talked to his girlfriend or wife or whatever it was at the time. He's like, we're going to get in a car accident, but we have to make it look real. So he technically got in a real car accident. It just wasn't an accident.
Right.
So he could get out of his contract for a few months to go shoot The Magnificent Seven. Anthony Quinn. That's what I was thinking too, Brian. Damn it. I was like, was it Anthony Quinn? I'm like, no, I don't think it was Anthony Quinn. And I had that split moment thought too. Damn it. Yeah, so Anthony Quinn was actually the original actor who got it off the ground. And then, of course, you add in Charles Bronson, who was, up and coming at that time. Very young and, big and buff. And you got, what's his face? Jesus Christ, I just forgot his name.
I hate when because especially after you watch the movie, then you forget everybody's names.
I know, it's a great cast too. Robert Vaughn. And
Robert Vaughn is great.
Who was young at that time and just a great character actor. And this is one of his great roles. And then, of course, talk about, I talked a little bit about Robert Shaw's character in that. Well, I take that back because I just remembered now after talking about that. Eli Wallach does such a great job as the main bad guy in this movie. Like, he is one of those kind of, I guess I wouldn't give him the so much you like him kind of thing. You love to hate him more so. Like, he's good at playing that. Like, again, and he even pointed out in an interview, like, every bandito after that was basically me. Right.
Yeah.
And he's right. I mean, and he even gets his own theme song in the film that they use later on for all the dun, 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 dun. Kind of reminds me of the Star Trek when they're fighting theme.
Always think of
whatever his name is.
Three Amigos, the one guy from Three Amigos.
Yeah. Well, and Three Amigos is clearly influenced by Seven Samurai. Like, obviously, it is basically like if Mel Brooks was going to make Seven Samurai aside from Blazing Saddles, it would have been that. Yeah,
exactly. That's why I always like every time I see that guy from the Magnificent Seven, I automatically think of that.
Yeah,
but yeah,
like it's clearly very much in the vein of. But no, the Magnificent Seven is just one of those great stories, and it lends itself so well to not just the old Kurosawa film. It also lends itself to the idea that, it's a Western, right? It works so great in that dynamic.
Yeah.
You have a group of bad guys who are tormenting this small village who can't defend themselves. They go to buy guns. And the reason they go to buy guns in this version is because the Mexican government got involved. The Mexican government, since they were shooting down there, they said, no, you cannot have the peasants look like they're completely incompetent. And they had people on, and this is in 1959, 1960, and they're shooting this. They actually had people come in from the government to help them make sure that they were being proper with the Mexican characters and how they portrayed them. Because they were very touchy about that. Because I guess there was a movie a couple years earlier that had come out that really pissed them off.
Really made them
remember
look
the
bad.
title of it. But yeah, it really made the Mexicans look bad. So they were not happy about that. I can't remember what movie it was now. I apologize again. But
it
like
happens to me all the time.
Yeah. But so like they had these consultants and I had no idea about it, but then of course the only other person I really failed to mention that is Horst Brokault, or however you say his name. I can never say it right. Who is famously the German guy playing the Mexican. Chico. who's also which funnily enough became the director's favorite character in the movie, to the point, and much to Steve McQueen's chagrin, to the point where he had more footage shot on him than anybody else. In fact, a lot of his scenes in the film, like the bullfighting scene, were added later, and it was all improvised stuff that the director just took out Horst and said, like, do this, do that. And he's like, oh, do this, try that. And like, yeah, they were just doing a bunch of weird shit and funny shit. And it was stuff that got cut into the movie later on. So he technically has just as much screen time or more than Yul Brynner does in the movie. He's the young buck, right? Like, he's supposed to be the hot-headed young buck, but yeah.
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 That's what I remember.
Of course, he's the only character that returns in the sequel, which is odd, but it's not played by the same actor, of course.
Right.
Besides Yul Brynner, which, like I said, that's my tough problem with the sequel, is like, it's kind of like big problem is it takes almost a half hour just to get into the main plot. And what the main plot is that these banditos came in and fucked up the town and kidnapped all the men and took them to some working camp or whatever. And one of the people, it's the town that they defended in the first film, as far as I can tell, best as I can tell, because Chico, who stayed behind, is one of the guys who's been captured. So that's why Yul Brynner gets involved. He gets a new band of guys together and they go to rescue him in the town. And of course, it's funny because, I mean, the weird thing is the movie could be good because it's like, it just drags on. Like I said, it takes a half hour just to get to that.
Oh boy.
Before you kind of realize the whole main plot, and it gets things kind of set off. And the movie's only 90 minutes long. It's like a half hour, almost 45 minutes less than the first movie.
That's never a good sign if it takes like almost an hour to get to where you need to be.
Yeah, it was the right idea, but the setup was wrong. Right? Like, it just took too long to get there, and it just lost my interest too early on. The setup also of bringing in the new guys was not very well done either compared to the original. Like, that was part of the film, right? The first quarter of the film or better is this idea that we got to recruit this team.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of get the buildup of you get each a little story of who these guys are and their little introductions. That's not so much here. There are people that either already know him or whatever. And it's just kind of meanders until you get to that first standoff. And it turns out the bad guy in the second film also knows Yul Brynner's character, and he actually spared his life at one time. So Yul's kind of giving him a one shot to get the fuck out of Dodge kind of thing. So that's kind of the setup of that second one. And from there, I can't tell you.
It misses the actors from the first movies.
It does. The charm.
Like the star power and the.
Well, not just that, the differentiality of the characters. And definitely helps that you had, I mean, because even at that time, like Steve McQueen and Vince Vaughn weren't that big of actors yet. Right. Same thing with James Coburn, right? Like that was one of his first big turns, and now he was one of the more popular ones to come out of the film, believe it or not. Mm-hmm. Because he was the knife guy, which was a lot of people's favorite character from Seven Samurai, which was the sword master. Mm-hmm. But the tall guy, and very similar looking character too, which was kind of funny. But yeah.
What's funny is like and I know that like the Seven Samurai in this movie has inspired so many movies, but like now that going over this, I never pieced it together. But the Expendable movies are essentially the Magnificent Seven movies and the sequels.
A lot of them is, yeah, kind of.
The more I think, because like they have a knife guy. I'm like, the more I think it is like, yeah, how did I miss that the first time
out
around?
of this you got shit even like The Dirty Dozen and really, like they said flat out, the reason why this works in any kind of medium is at its core what it is like it's a platoon movie, right? Yeah. It's you get a bunch of guys together. In fact, what's his face, the director, his next movie, The Great Escape, is basically, a lot of people compared it to the Magnificent Seven. Although it's the movie that he's more well known for, of course. I just forgot his goddamn name. Because I don't have the shit in front of me. That's the problem. Usually I have the movie.
I know, don't you hate when it happens?
Stuff. So I didn't bring him up this time since my camera's not working. John Sturges.
I'll look that for you real quick.
John Sturges. I got it here. Yeah.
Oh, you got it. Okay.
Yeah. So like, you have that aspect of it too. But no, I mean, it's one of those movies that it is a pinnacle film. right? Like a very pinnacle film, despite being a remake as it is.
Yeah.
But, of course, you got Battle Beyond the
Yeah,
Stars, and
with Richard
we
Thomas.
brought up Yojimbo has been remade quite a few times too.
Brian Barth wants to know
Fistful of Dollars or whatever.
Yeah, Fistful of Dollars. Yeah, Arnold or Yul Brynner.
In an acting contest or a fight?
I think he might mean a fight, but I'm not sure.
I don't know. Yul Brynner's a pretty badass guy at the time, but Schwarzenegger's got him in pound for pound, probably fight-wise. But acting-wise, Yul Brynner would act circles around Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. That's what Dan Blackwood brought up about Steve McQueen trying to upstage him. I remember that because I remember watching the thing about it and how there was a scene where they're like Yul Brynner's, he's on the stagecoach and he's got the horse and Steve McQueen's beside him. And the direction was like it was supposed to focus on Yul Brynner being serious, looking around, and Steve McQueen was supposed to just sit there with the gun. Yeah, Steve McQueen was supposed to sit there with the gun and kind of just look, but he wouldn't listen, and he kept standing up, and he kept like
fidgeting
purposely getting in front of Yul Brynner and stuff like that. Yeah.
You'll notice that earlier in some of the lot of shots, you're right. Steve McQueen finds business to do.
Yeah,
and he was doing it on purpose to draw attention to him.
Yeah.
Do you know the rest of that story?
I vaguely remembered it, but I remember that part.
Okay, the rest of the story is at one point, Yul Brynner took him aside and said, "Look, all I've got to do to make you disappear is take this hat off." And nice. Steve knew exactly what he's talking about, and from that moment on, Steve never did it again.
Yep. See, I remember because I remember where
in the movie, Yul is nice enough. He only takes his hat off, I think, twice in the entire movie.
That's cool.
And what that means is, as soon as Yul Brynner takes his fucking hat off, everybody, because that was the thing. The women, he was one of the first guys to have that bald head like that, and women just to that, and not only that, he's just one of those guys. He commands fucking presence, and that was the thing that, like, there were some reviews at the time and other people that said, Yul Brynner is one of the worst cowboys ever. And they're wrong in a sense, but they're right in a sense. And they're right in a sense that he's the wrong actor to play a cowboy. But the regal way he carries himself and the way that he has learned how to act through Broadway and all that kind of shit and on stage, you need that gravitas in that character. Because you also, there's like a little unsaid things in the movie that you got to remember that at that time, people like him would have had an uphill battle, because him looking as Asian as he did, he would have been treated like, any other black person or whatever at that time, where he would have always had to work that much harder, prove himself that much more. And what he speaks and the way he talks and the way he carries himself and the way he walks. Sure, it doesn't look like, Clint Eastwood, but it doesn't matter because it's Yul fucking Brynner. And the moment he walks in the shot, eyes go right at him, and it doesn't matter because he wears that hat like a motherfucker. He wears that outfit like a motherfucker. And, you just want to be that guy. The way he's got, all he's got to do is just sit there and light up that cigar. Don't have to say a word, right? And he just has that magnetism about him that women want him and men want to be him, right? That's exactly what you want out of that. Steve McQueen kind of has that. But Steve McQueen is also the fiery kid next door kind of thing, right? And he learned that, and they got him in the movie. The best part is they gave him his gimmick he needed, and that was the little quips, right? Like I knew a guy once who jumped off a roof, and he said every floor going down, so far so good, stuff like that, the little sayings and stuff that he had. So that was his little gimmick. And you're right, like this was the first time you had these little troops together where they each have their own little gimmick, they each have their own little specialty. And yes, this inspired a lot of films afterwards. Many films afterwards.
So many. And it's such a great classic movie. So I'm glad to know that the scan doesn't look too bad on the 4K.
No, I have no idea how old it is. It is from the negative, for the most part. I mean, there's some shots that aren't, but for the most part, considering the age of the film and everything like that, I think it looks pretty well. I have nothing else to go by other than the older Blu-ray. And I am assuming from what I looked up, Greg, that release that I talked about was the same release I have. It's just slapped in the box set because it'd be the same. It'd be the 50th anniversary. 2010 would have been the 50th.
Just put in there. Yeah.
So I don't know. I hope to God that's not how old that scan is, but it might fucking be. But it don't seem like it's the same scan. But I didn't, compare it directly as much as I normally do. I just could tell there was a big difference.
That's true. That's true. But there you go. That's great. Great pick. Did you want to talk about the other, since you also watched the...
That's my next pick.
Oh, that's okay. We'll wait till then.
Yeah.
Runner, any thoughts or anything?
Have you even seen Magnificent Seven?
Yeah, I've seen it once. I own it on Blu-ray. I have the Magnificent Seven collection.
He has the one you have, Tom?
Yeah, probably.
I think it's it's MGM, but I think it was distributed by Fox.
Yeah. It's got all 4 movies in it or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I got it for like $5 or $10 or something like that.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
I need to rewatch it, but yeah, it's good to know about the 4K scan.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, we'll go to you, Runner. What's your and by the way, if you didn't know, Runner, Tom's camera isn't working.
Yeah, I forgot my only 2 complaints. I did say this earlier. There is no new special features, but they did finally recarry over some special features that were missing on the last release from the original release. So that's at least compiled and completed, including the commentary, which featured I think James Coburn and Eli Wallach, for instance, which was a lot of fun. Otherwise, no new special features. And come on, Shout, you could have given me at least reversible cover art since the slip box is the same as the art. It would have been nice to have the original poster to flip around on the original art.
I know.
That would be cool.
That would have been great.
Or what really cool, even if the 7 poster would have had the 7 and all 7 of them on the thing. Yeah, but anyway.
Yeah. Real quick before you get to your Runner, Bryant Barth wants to know, why did Yul Brynner's career decline in the 70s? It's just, honestly, I just think that's how actors go. Sometimes they burn bright for a long time, and then they kind of just move on to the next big thing.
And his health declined too after a while too. You got to remember
cancer
that shit
and everything. So
I mean, I remember him being fairly active up until near the end. I mean, he did die it was 80, really mid, but he was working fairly regularly. I mean, he's been in a ton of shit. So
yeah.
Same thing with John Wayne's career also kind of took a similar turn, but I mean, I'm not trying to compare the two, but
yeah, it just happens when they start getting older.
Similar, so yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Runner, what do you got for us for your next pick?
What do you got?
My next movie is a very, very underrated Western. Some people don't talk about this as much, which is kind of sad. It's got a fantastic cast. It's directed by a fantastic director. And talking about The Quick and the Dead.
I have that, but you know what? I've never actually seen it.
It looks pretty damn good.
I don't care for it.
It's Sam Raimi movie, which is funny, but yeah.
I mean, it has its moments, but
you don't care about it?
I don't care for it.
For it.
It's not. I'm not saying it's a bad movie because it's not really a bad movie, but it's not. It's not one of Sam's best. It's not one of Sam's best.
Well, no, obviously not. But it's a decent movie though.
I'm still trying to find the car because the car is in the movie. It's disguised as a wagon, and I haven't figured out which one it is yet. So
I haven't. Yeah, I haven't spotted the car yet, but it's a good movie. Sharon Stone's great. Gene Hackman's fantastic.
Well, Gene Hackman's always fantastic.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's probably the best person in that movie. Exactly, Dan Aykroyd.
Oh yeah, his performance is great.
His performance is probably the best in that movie. I think if he wasn't in that movie would have been unwatchable.
You think so?
Yeah, but not to say that the other actors actually didn't do a good job. It's just he grounded that movie. So
yeah, Gene Hackman and Leo were probably my favorite parts of the movie.
Yeah.
It was honestly it was one of Leo's better roles when he was a kid. Honestly, I think his humor really worked.
Oh, did I ever tell you the story that Gary from Pop Culture Minefield told me about that?
What?
I can't remember the older actor. He's one of the older guys in the movie. he's I can't remember the actor, but anyways, he was bitching and moaning apparently because Gary from Pop Culture Minefield knows Bruce Campbell, right? So and if I remember, this is about the Quick and the Dead, but he was one of the older actors who was more used to being like old school Hollywood. He was bitching and moaning that he thinks his character would have stood up and did something for his kid. I can't remember what I can't remember the guy and what the scenario was. But so Sam Raimi brought in Bruce Campbell, had Bruce Campbell come in as a cowboy, and they filmed a scene for this actor to beat up Bruce Campbell as like he was, standing up for his kid or whatever, and just to shut him up. But it's not in the movie at all. They just to appease him. So they just brought in Bruce Campbell to have him get his butt kicked by this old actor, and to make it look like he was doing something. And they never had any intention of ever putting it in the film. So
yeah, that was the one question I had after watching this movie. I'm like, where the fuck is Bruce Campbell?
yeah, he was there.
But,
He was not in the movie.
Well, he was cut out.
Yeah, well, he was never supposed to be in the movie.
Oh,
so.
I heard something different. I thought he was supposed to play Sharon Stone's abusive husband or something, or am I making that up? Because I've heard someone say that.
Possibly, I don't know. It's not that I don't like the movie. It's just not one of my favorites. I don't find myself wanting to revisit it a lot.
Have you seen The Gift?
Yes, I've seen The Gift.
Do you like The Gift more than The Quick and the Dead?
With Keanu Reeves?
Yeah, Keanu Reeves, Kate Blanchett.
Yeah, I like that movie more than The Quick and the Dead.
Well, I'll give you a pass on that just because that at least feels more like a Sam Raimi movie.
Mm-hmm.
If you know what I mean, like it's got that horror type element in it. Like the most Sam Raimi about this movie is kind of the camera work, I would say.
Yeah, the quick cuts and everything, like the
quick cuts. Yeah, the quick, especially the one scene where Gene Hackman blows. I forgot.
Whoa! When he what?
No.
When Gene Hackman, hey, be careful talking about the Hackman like that, man.
I'm sorry, Gene Hackman, if you're watching this.
He's like 90 years old. He has no idea what YouTube is.
Yeah, you're right. He's too busy writing novels. But no, he like the way it was like cut where like he like shot someone's head off. He like blew the head off. Like that, like the way that was made, I thought was like, I was like, when that happened, I was like, oh, that's Sam Raimi right there.
Yeah.
And even some of the Dutch angles and stuff with the clock, like that was very Sam Raimi.
Oh yeah, it's got his visual style in that sense.
Yeah,
it's not like I said. It's not like I don't think it's a good movie. It has its moments, and it's very progressive. Sharon Stone is the hero of the movie, so it's very progressive, and she's still pretty in that movie. So
yeah, she's fantastic.
Yeah, and it's got some great scenes. And Gene, like we said, Gene Hackman steals the movie. It's just I don't know why I don't like it as much as I should. I should say.
And I surprisingly liked Leo in this movie a lot more than I thought. I don't know if it's because he just works really well with Sam Raimi type humor. I know he didn't write it. It was someone else who wrote it. But yeah, I thought it was a good movie. That was really good. Not his best. Well, compared to Spider-Man 3 and Doctor Strange 2, it's 10 times better.
That's true, I guess.
Because Doctor Strange 2 does not feel like a Sam Raimi movie. 10% of it does. That's it. There's more Sam Raimi in The Quick and the Dead, which is sad.
I haven't seen Doctor Strange 2. Like I said, I kind of just stopped watching Marvel movies and their shows.
It's really not worth it. Like the only good thing about that movie are the Raimi elements in it, like the horror type stuff, and that's really it. Literally everything else is just generic MCU crap.
Yeah. But that, I mean...
Oh, the Bruce Campbell cameo in that was fucking hilarious, though. I love that. Papa Pizza.
Papa Pizza. I don't know because I haven't seen it. So
No, that no, I didn't like the movie at all, but like I laughed so fucking hard in the theater when I saw that. Like I was with a friend of mine, and when he showed up, I was like, "Hey, it's it's Bruce," and then he's just being Bruce Campbell, and it's fucking great. Like that was the only part I like laughed at.
nice, nice. Uh, Pizza Papa is what style section says.
Papa Pete. Well, I don't give a shit. The
Pizza.
movie sucked.
Pepperoni, nice big slice.
Pizza.
All right. Well, any final words? Are you done? Are you got anything else to
Yeah,
say?
I'm done. I gotta rewatch it. I watched like parts of it on 4K. It's a damn good scan. I mean, it is Sony. After all, Sony released this in the TriStar brand.
Nice.
So yeah, it's good.
Does the
Good
4K
scan.
look good?
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Very good. And I don't think it was approved by Sam Raimi. Because
Huh.
Army of Darkness was like the only one that was approved by him.
Yeah, that was his first one where he went through it. So
Yeah, because yeah, that was his first one. Because like Evil Dead 1 and 2 had come out in 4K, and those two look great. Which is like insane to me, because it's like you would think like, oh my god, he probably did look over this, but I guess he didn't, and
no.
doesn't seem like he did for The Quick and the Dead, but The Quick and the Dead looks fucking great.
Well, maybe there's just for some well taken care of prints.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, I guess I'll move on to my second pick if you're cool with that. I find myself being drawn more and more back to these old 50 sci-fi movies, and honestly considering what's going on in our world today, is it a balloon? Is it a UFO? Oh, these movies are kind of becoming more relevant than ever again. But I have Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, which I'd been wanting to pick this one up for a while from Warner Archive Collection. This is a great flick. I didn't look up. I didn't look
we
up.
gotta deal with the 50-foot period.
Oh God! I mean, that's a huge bitch. But yeah, this is a great movie. I didn't look up the scan. I don't know if it's a 2K scan or a 4K scan or what it's from. I should have looked up. But the scan looks amazing on this.
It might be 4K. Anymore, they've been doing a lot of them just in general. But
I was thinking it was probably 4K. I really have to look it up, but it looks amazing.
And also they've been getting smart about not doing so much DNR on shit like they used to.
Oh yeah, there's the right amount of like grain in this. It looked. I was very, very pleasantly surprised with this, and I really, really, really enjoyed it. But essentially, this movie is a giant ball thing is floating over the desert, and this woman sees it. The richest woman in this small desert town, she sees it, and nobody believes her because she's a drunk rich woman who basically runs the town, and they don't want to offend her, but they don't believe her. Her husband is cheating on her with a young girl, and all she wants is her husband to love her. She is a bit of a bitch, and builds to this point where she's determined to prove that what she saw in the desert was real. It was an orb with a giant man in it. She goes out there, her and her husband. They find it. The guy like grabs her. Her husband runs away. When they come back and find her, she's become the 50-foot woman. So it does take a while for her to actually become the 50-foot woman in this. But then when she becomes the 50-foot woman, it's much like the King Kong and stuff. She goes through the town and looking for a husband, destroying a building, kills the chick that he's with, and so forth. So yeah, and that's actually what I was planning on getting next. I want to get the Daryl Hannah one because that is on DVD, only on DVD. So that might be one of my next picks. I get eventually when I get to it.
But I remember right, that Daryl Hannah one like premiered on Showtime or something like that.
HBO, it was an HBO movie.
HBO, yeah, something like that. Yeah, there you go.
Directed by Christopher Guest. So.
Yes, that makes some sense. Yes. I vaguely remember when that came out. Yes.
Yes. So it's still available on DVD for $20. It's still $20, but
I wonder if they have it on HBO Max in HD or not, because they have been slowly putting on some of their old HBO movies.
I have to
in
check,
HD.
but I don't think I
Arcade
saw.
281 is on HD there now too.
I have to check, but I don't think I saw it
got
on there
so
last
giddy.
time. But I do want to watch the remake. I've been wanting to watch after I watch this because I remember that one.
The Late Show's on there too, so that's another one of the HBO movies I liked.
Oh, is that the one with like the
about the David Letterman, Jay Leno, Johnny Carson thing? Yeah,
that's a good one. But yeah, if you get a chance, if you can watch these old 50s movies, because I love them, this is a really great one. There's no special features, sadly. Just a commentary and a trailer. Well, I guess there are special features, but it's just a commentary and a trailer. But the print looks amazing. The movie, I love the movie. You watch these old 50s movies, and they got away with some stuff in these movies from the 50s that you get, oh, they wouldn't have done that back in the day. Bullshit, they wouldn't have done that back in the day. This man was cheating on his wife with a hot chicken and almost shows her naked and everything, and it's in 1953. They got away with some stuff back in the day. They were telling some stories. And this is a good 50 sci-fi movie here. So I'm glad to have that with my Warner Archive collection. So there you go.
Awesome sauce.
Sauce, man. But I know I'm probably the only one that's got any on that, so it's to you, Tom, if you're ready to go.
Yeah, sadly, I only vaguely remember the Daryl Hannah one. That was all I was going to really bring up, as I remember that. But yeah, I've not seen the original, sadly. But moving on, as I said, you'll start to see a pattern emerge here.
Okay.
I saw another remake of a remake. And this one also has Denzel Washington in it.
Dun dun dun.
Yes,
I have that too.
I didn't actually. I have the Blu-ray, but it's still in plastic. I actually watched the 4K version on Vudu.
Oh,
now you sound like Runner. It's on Netflix and Vudu.
Well, and it is a 2K positive.
I didn't say shit about Vudu,
but it happened to be on sale surprisingly this week, and I was like, "Fuck it!" So I bought the 4K version to watch. Which I knew was like, it just, yeah. And this is where I was saying earlier about my problem with films that are filmed digitally, done at 2K, and then up converted and stuff. They just look like garbage. They look like, so that's why movies like Pooh, Blood and Honey look just as good as movies like this.
Yeah.
Because they're all shot and finished the same goddamn way. There's nothing special about these, right?
That's why I didn't get the 4K, because I'm like, I'll just stick with the Blu-ray.
And this movie should have been shot on fucking film.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Definitely. This is a decent fucking remake, and they do it right here. You get a name cast.
I like I didn't mind the remake.
It has Antoine Fuqua directing. It's a bit different take on it.
Mm-hmm.
You got Vincent D'Onofrio in here as well. That's what's kind of funny about him being in that remake of Taking a Pelham.
Yeah,
that I didn't know about until we just got it brought up here.
You could have had like a trifecta tonight if you would have seen that one.
If I had, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I actually enjoyed it more than I thought. Ethan Hawke as well also is in it, and
Ethan Hawke's good. You got a little Training Day connection. I know Greg.
Yep.
I know Greg hates that, but whatever. There you go.
Training Day is not one of my favorites either, but yeah.
No, I understand. I love it. I love that.
I mean, I'm not. I mean, is this exactly what I would have done? Not necessarily, but it kind of works for what it is. I mean, Denzel Washington has that gravitas you need for that role. Chris Pratt was an inspired choice to play, and this was at the point where Chris Pratt was just on the verge of his blowing up as a star.
Yeah.
So like, and it's funny because he kind of overtakes Denzel on the cover and everything. He's on the back cover. He's the one with the big splash on the background. But of course, that's because I guess funnily enough, every day Denzel would come in and say to Chris Pratt, see, the movie made $100 million today. $115 million this week. Keep going, Chris. Because Jurassic World had come out while they were shooting this.
Oh, that's awesome.
So he would come in almost every day with a new amount that the movie, because that movie made $1 billion, if you remember right. So like all the way up, he would come in, $600 million today, Chris. Keep it going.
That sounds like a very Denzel Washington thing he'd say.
So yeah, his star was rising as he was on this film, which funnily enough, I'm sure this is probably the last movie that Chris Pratt did for scale, or close to scale, I would say. I'm sure he made a little bit more than scale on it, but in that lower price range, I would say. Because also he had Guardians under his belt and stuff like that. So like, this was sadly the movie didn't do as well, but it came at a time where it just didn't have a footing for westerns. It seemed like it hadn't, like if it come out now, maybe this year, I think it'd be a different story, even with this cast, especially.
Oh, definitely.
I think it'd have a little bit more impact.
Bigger hit now, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a little ahead of its time. And again, I'm not going to even pretend to say it's as good as or better or any way, shape, or form than the other original. Not.
No.
But it's an interesting remake, and this story has been told so many different times. We had the TV series, and I swear there was another TV version remake at some point, but I could be wrong. I could be thinking of another movie, but no, I'd seen it when it first came out, and I think I just kind of meh it, because honestly, I'm not even 100% sure if I have watched it since my Blu-ray's not open, to be honest with you.
I've never seen it, so.
But I watched it in its entirety, and the Dolby Atmos track on it. That's the reason, actually, I went and opted with that, because the Blu-ray has DTS 7.1, but the Vudu version had a Dolby Atmos track. And I'm like, well, let's check it out. And that Atmos track is amazing on it. Because you got bullets flying all over your head, and the only complaint I have with it is that they don't use the original theme. There's like hints of it. They only use it like once at the very, very fucking end for like 2 seconds, and then they go into whatever else. And it's like, how can you not use the original Magnificent Seven theme? Like, give me a break.
That would have been cool.
We'll give you a hint of it, but then we're going to go to the new style.
That's what I was going to say, Joey. I thought there was I would thought that, but it didn't come up on IMDb when I was looking earlier, Greg.
That's what
I could have swore there was an older series too.
So did I. I mean, I'm pretty sure my dad watched it, so that's what I was kind of thinking.
Because when I was a kid, I remember I don't remember seeing the film until I was a little bit older, but I remember watching the series as a kid with my dad too, because I remember the theme song.
Mm-hmm.
Dun, 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 dun,
yeah.
It's like I know the theme, and I was too young for the Marlboro commercials. I mean, I'm sure I've seen them in passing here and there, but like at that time, like when they were major, because they quit showing cigarette commercials by the time we were born. But
yeah, bad for your health.
They might have played them still on the radio, but yeah.
So much Camel.
Bill Paxton is in the 98 version, and we found that one. We couldn't find the 70s one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I could have swore there was one before that too.
Yeah. Huh. But this one I have never seen, so I've never seen.
You have never seen this one? Okay, the differences are like obviously all the characters are like variations on the original characters, but they don't have any of the same names. But basically, Denzel is the stand-in for the Yul Brynner character, obviously. Mm-hmm. Chris Pratt's the stand-in for the Steve McQueen. Ethan Hawke is a stand-in for the Vince Vaughn character. The guy in the middle there, I can't remember the actor's name, but he was also I think he was in Bullet Train last year. It's that same guy.
That's not him.
It's not the same guy? Okay. Sorry, but he reminds me of him.
Yeah.
But I've seen him in some other shit, and I can't think of his name now offhand, but he's the knife guy in the middle. And then the Mexican behind him is kind of a newer character. The Indian behind him is kind of a newer character, but kind of a take on the original Charles Bronson character. And then you got Vincent D'Onofrio's characters. I love his fucking character. He's the character the first movie was missing. He's the hillbilly tracker.
Yeah, that was great.
And I love his vernacular, the way he talks and everything. Because I know guys that talked like that. Like, because, you can tell he's from the South. The way, wherever he took his accent and the way he talks and just his whole demeanor. I love his fucking character. And I do like Ethan Hunt's bit. They really amp up what Vince Vaughn was going through in the original film with Ethan's character in this one. So they do a good job with that, right? Like, and then they make a connection between, a little bit of a connection between Denzel's character and the bad guy. So like he has a reason to want to get involved in this one, as opposed to the original one. Yul's like, I never said I would go and help you. I just said I'd help you find some men. Yeah. I don't know if my Yul Brynner was good there, but Did I say Matthew Vaughn? I'm so sorry, Brian. I meant Robert Vaughn. Jesus.
Actually, you said Vince Vaughn.
Did I say Vince Vaughn? Oh my gosh, that's almost worse in some ways. Of course, Vince Vaughn would have fit right in with this movie, to be honest.
Oh yeah, he would have. Poor Vince Vaughn.
Yeah, he would have been great in this movie, to be honest. But no, Vincent D'Onofrio is probably the unsung, and he gets shoved in the back there, unfortunately. Because like when this movie came out, I didn't even realize he was in the movie until I started watching it last night.
I mean, he's not in it a whole lot.
He's fairly enough, but yeah, he's like the last of the 7, but yeah.
No, don't get me wrong, he's a great character, and I wish he had more screen time, but when it comes to screen time, like...
Or next to last of the 7, yeah. He's 6, because they pick up the Indian last, but yeah.
Yeah, the one with the tomahawks and all that, that was a cool fucking character. I thought anyway.
Yeah. Well, I just love how Vincent's like they do a great job with the introductions to these characters, much like the original, in their own original ways. Probably the least interesting one would be like the one that's the most like the original would be the knife guy, basically.
Yeah, the knife guy was dope too.
It's almost exactly like the original. But Vincent's character when he comes in, because you got these 2 other guys who claim they killed him and they got his gun and they're trying to sell it. And he comes barreling out of nowhere and I love it because they refer to him later as a bear in man's clothing, and that's exactly what he is.
Nice.
Yeah, but Chris Pratt does a great job in this, playing the Thief of Hearts kind of character he tries to be. He although he has no charm or no game, pretty much Chris Pratt playing Chris Pratt, but it works here because like He's doing the Steve McQueen thing. They give him a bunch of the Steve McQueen lines. Honestly, he's the only one that really says a lot of the lines from the original film, but yeah.
Honestly, having seen this like months ago, I thought this was one of his more better acting roles. I mean
also the guy from Yellowstone's in it too.
Oh, which one?
The main kid, Casey.
Oh, okay.
He's one of the people from the town. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Runner.
No, that's fine. Tom, have you seen the Terminal List yet?
No, it's on my list though. It's on my Terminal list.
Because like there are a lot of people who say like, oh, Chris Pratt plays Chris Pratt and everything is in, and that's right for the most part, but you got to watch him in the Terminal List because that is not Chris Pratt in that.
I beg to differ.
Yeah.
Speaking of westerns here, have you guys seen The Kid? It stars Chris Pratt and Ethan Hawke. It's about Billy the Kid.
No, that's one that's on my list to see though. I saw the other one.
I think I've heard of it.
I saw the other one with and I'm trying not to spoil it. I'm not even going to say the title of the movie because it might spoil, because that's like a twist in the movie, so I'm not going to say it.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't think it was that great, but I kind of saw the twist coming a mile away as well. So
the Kid movie isn't that great of a movie, but Chris Pratt plays the bad guy, and he is evil as crap in that movie. And it's like a whole other side of Chris Pratt that you've never seen before, for real.
I've heard,
I don't know what this is.
No, I've heard of that actually. I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah,
was this that?
I think I saw a trailer for it.
It's directed by Vincent D'Onofrio. It's directed by him. It's his first directorial thing. Ethan Hawke is in it. Speaking of, this is why I'm bringing it up, because like half of the people that's in this movie made The Kid.
Oh, The Kid, he's in that. Oh, okay, I'll check that out. I know it was one of those movies I remember hearing about, but all right.
Yeah, Vincent D'Onofrio directed it. Chris Pratt plays the bad guy. Ethan Hawke plays the guy that shot Billy the Kid.
I did not know that the Indian guy was in 1883 as well. That's not surprising though.
There you go.
And then the bad guy is really cool too. Is something Sarsgaard is his name.
Stellan Sarsgaard.
No, it's not Starsgaard or whatever. It's I don't think he's related to those kids, or is he? Is it like Tom Sarsgaard or something like that? I'm trying to think. I'll have to look it up here. Hang on.
Yeah, but yeah, so like that's what I said. The Kid is like half the people that was in the Magnificent Seven is in the movie Kid, and it's
Peter Sarsgaard. That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, he is. He's related to.
Is he? Is he one of them?
Yeah. He's the youngest brother.
Okay, so he's decent as the bad guy.
Yeah.
And again, it's a little bit different take. Funnily enough, it kind of borrows the bit of, because like the whole idea is he owns the land on the other side of this town, and he's mining for gold. and he's fucking up this town, basically, is what he's doing. And he owns the sheriff and all this shit in the town. So that's the difference compared to the original version. So it's kind of almost similar to the sequel in that sense, but like, because you have like because they go over and they bust up the whole mine too, which is similar to a sequence in the second Magnificent Seven movie. But yeah.
Nice. I don't know. I've just never been interested to see this one. It's never really grabbed me. I don't know why, but maybe I'll eventually see it.
It has its moments. It's really well done. Again, it's a bit, not even a blip on the original film as far as how good it is, but it's good. Yeah. I mean, as far as remakes go, they had the right idea. It's different enough, but it carries the same beats. You give a shit about these characters. They're differentiated enough. They carry a lot of the same traits, but like they're their own. Again, I agree with Runner. This is probably one of Chris's better films where he's not just playing Chris Pratt, but he is, at the same time.
That's fair.
You know what I mean? Like it is a version of his Chris Pratt, but it's kind of like Chris Pratt's playing Steve McQueen almost. It's weird.
Oh, there you go.
And Ethan Hawke is good in it too. Between him and Vincent are probably the undersung performances in the film. Like I said, Vincent D'Onofrio he was great in this fucking movie. Like I loved every bit he was in.
He was good.
Every single bit, yeah.
Nice. I really have to check it out.
God put me on this earth to take evil out.
That's cool.
I had a conversation with God, and
I remember telling Greg, like, hey, you should give this movie a chance, and he's like, no, I don't care. It's not a trailer.
I may or may not. He
needed somebody like me to go, yeah, it's got the best.
Yeah, I know. He needed someone like Tom to fucking convince him.
I mean, you're like, it's Antoine Fuqua, it's training day.
Exactly, that's the problem here, Runner. It has nothing to do with. It's not so much to do with who you are; it's your age and your. Well,
I mean,
just like your observation of it, probably knowing you've only seen the original maybe once, probably, yeah.
Yeah, and I've only seen the remake once too, to be fair. Plus, like, he directed Southpaw and the Equalizer movies.
Yeah,
so, I did dig the Equalizer one, but I barely remember the second one.
Oh, and he directed the first episode of The Terminal List.
Oh, nice.
And he was a producer for, I think, all the rest of the episodes. But yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, and I think, I forgot Equalizer 3 is coming out this year.
I probably will not be buying the WB box sets because I have most of those already. So
yeah, that's the problem. I probably won't get them.
I mean, I'm hoping the ones that they do add in.
I was gonna say outside of the new ones, I already have probably most of them.
Yeah, like I hope they have Enter the Dragon separately and stuff. So
yeah, I hope so too. Because literally everything in the 70s to 80s set, I'm like, I have every single one except for.
Well, to be clear, we discovered there's different sets, right? There's the 4K set, which has I think 30 titles. We discovered.
There's a Blu-ray one too, right?
And then there's the 4 Blu-ray sets. And those are set up by
decades.
Those are not decades, but genre.
Oh yeah. You said like horror and sci-fi and
there's horror, sci-fi, and a couple other ones. I seen all 4 of them here. Bill Hunt, I think, actually had them the other day on digital, but so you can actually see all the titles that are in there, and like all those. Even I have most of those. So
yeah.
Anything I'm gonna want anyway.
Most of those I don't have because I primarily just collect 4Ks most of the time.
I mean, for somebody like you that may not have them, if you can get them on a sale, like looking at the price that we found dug up for the 4K set, we're like, fuck that.
Yeah.
Like no way. That makes the Columbia box sets look like a steal. Really?
No,
I mean, because those movies are movies you haven't got yet. They're all brand new scans and everything. It's like most of these movies I'd be rebuying again.
Mm-hmm. I don't need to double dip that bad.
Yeah, not that bad. Not for like 5 titles. Fuck that.
Exactly.
And 4 pins. Nah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's where we're at with that. But seriously, if you ever get
for somebody who's just getting into collecting or switching over to DVD and from DVD to Blu-ray or from Blu-ray to 4K or whatever, It might be a decent deal if you sat down and figure out how much they are a piece normally.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only difference. But like, I'm not a big fan of when they put, like, first of all, I'm not a fan of sets that don't have individual cases. That is one of my biggest gripes about any box set. I hate, and I really fucking hate when they're like slipped into books. And that's what these Warner discs are. Not a fan of that. Not a fan of that at all. It is the worst way, especially 4K, to keep movies, because you get a little scratch or a little fuck up on there. I mean, you can wipe them off, but they skip so much easier than DVDs and Blu-rays do, because the scope of the lens has to go to such a smaller fine detail that things like that cause a bigger issue. So that's just a minor gripe, but I've never had luck with those, even in the DVD and Blu-ray days. Not a fan, never been a fan, not a fan of them. And like lately, that's been the trend in CDs too.
Yeah, put them in
cardboard cases that are just like a record album. That's great and all,
but it's not like a record. It'll scratch the CD.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. And yeah, you're not, normally they don't even have that second protective layer like a record would, and I can't put on my camera right now. But yeah, like I have a couple CDs here to show you like some similar ideas, but like, yeah, it's just, I'm not a fan of that shit. If you can't put it in I'm not even a fan of cases that are already kind of pre-made. I like to, if something breaks, I like to be able to fix it if I have to.
Yeah.
Or I can replace it with something else. You know, like if it's a standardized case inside of a box, I'm more happy. But not a fan of any of these other kind of box sets where they put all of them in a big like book or anything like that.
Yeah. Agree with you on that. Yeah, I'll probably eventually have to give the Magnificent Seven the remake a rewatch. But yeah.
It's like $21, so it's not too bad.
Yeah.
You might be able to find it on sale eventually. Shot will throw it down to like $14.50. And the new poster art they had wasn't too bad. That's the only that came with a poster, and that I think I got it for like $35.
Nice.
So that's not too bad. I mean,
well, it's a good deal. Good deal. I guess we're the runner. What do you got for us?
Yeah. Oh yeah, so I have one more.
We're done after that, and it's you're the last one, right?
Yeah, I'm the last one. Yeah.
I watched this movie a few weeks ago. It came with my Kino package. This was surprisingly, well, it wasn't surprisingly, but like it was a really good movie. I know Tom's a big fan of this. It stars Sidney Poitier, and that
In the Heat of the Night.
Damn it!
Oh, great fucking flick.
They call me Mr. Tibbs.
Mr. Tibbs.
In the heat of the night. Love that movie.
Oh yeah, that's a great song too. Yeah, it's a really good movie. I liked it a lot more than that.
Much better 5.1 remix than some of the other shit we've gotten lately too. The sound on that is good. That one was treated very well. I'm glad you picked that up. That's a good release.
Yeah,
and it gets sick.
My only gripe with this is I don't know if this is Kino's fault or whatever, but full screen. There's a chip right there.
Oh, no, that's a shipping fault, probably.
Oh, that sucks. I hate when it happens.
No, so here's the thing. Like, there was already like a piece like flying around, but like it was too distracting. So I like tried to like
pulled it off.
Out. Yeah, because it was so distracting.
Plus, you get the sequels in there too, which is also cool. So you get the whole trilogy in one set right there.
Yeah.
Oh no shit.
He just watched the first one.
Yeah, I watched the first one. I did.
Oh, you didn't even realize that the sequels are in there?
No.
Yeah, that's what I didn't either until I got it, which is kind of cool. You're like, oh shit, you got 3 fucking movies in here.
Runner, cool. Turn your camera off, Runner.
I didn't even know there was sequels until that moment, and then I'm like, oh shit, because that was what I was like, oh shit, I just went down the Mr. Tibbs rabbit hole here.
I knew there was a second one. They call me Mr. Tibbs, but I didn't know there was a third one.
Second one's decent. The third one's kind of meh.
Yeah.
Oh, son of a bitch. The posters are in the back.
Yeah.
I did not know.
Yeah, it was a nice surprise. It was a better surprise than Shaft was. Because Shaft only gives you the sequels. Like, you bastards, you could have given us at least the second and third one if you're going to do that. Then again,
Yeah,
after I saw the third one, I could see why.
I was gonna compare it to the Shaft Criterion, but that only came with the sequel.
It is kind of weird in that sense because once you see Mr. Tibbs, it's very much like a Shaft movie starring Sidney Poitier, basically. I mean, it's not like all like shut your mouth badass shit, but I mean, even the theme song is pretty badass actually because Quincy Jones does the music again for that one, and it's got a pretty nice swinging 70s like. I really dug the. I bought the soundtrack.
Hey, music's good, man.
Sidney Poitier Shaft is not a bad thing at
all.
I mean,
again, he's not like totally like all like pimpin' style like Shaft, right? But he's very much cool. And I mean, just the way he treats the people in his lives, and it's very much like a Shaft movie more so than anything. Because it's totally the only thing it's a sequel to the Heat of the Night in a sense is that it's just the same character, and you kind of get to see him in his world. You know, kind of that's the only difference. Yeah. It's a good film though. It's fun. The third one is just kind of like a more of a similar like, oh, we're doing it could have just been any movie starring Sidney Poitier as a cop.
We just called him Mr. Tibbs.
Yeah, there's very little to connect the two from my recollection. I could be wrong, but like I don't the third one called The Organization is like it actually like had a similar plot, I think, to one of the Lethal Weapon movies, if I remember right. Can't remember.
The South African one?
No, the first one actually, I think, if I remember right, because I think it had something to do with drugs and a friend of his and
oh, okay.
Yeah, the whole thing. If I remember right, that one I don't remember liking as much, and I didn't pay as much attention to. So, the second one though, I remember liking, and of course, The Heat of the Night I've seen many times and loved. So,
yeah, Heat of the Night's great, and I loved the TV series too. I loved it, but
one of those rare occurrences where the TV series is as good as the movies, or like has its own way about it. But anyway, what's your feelings on it, Runner? It's your movie. We're talking over you.
It's good. I need to rewatch it because I feel like I'll have a little more enjoyment from it, like rewatching it. But yeah, it was a better movie than I thought it'd be. It was really damn good. And I remember hearing the Mr. Tibbs quote like before, and I'm like, oh, that's where it comes from.
Renner's just all full of surprises today. Oh, it's got all three of them. Oh, that's where Mr. Tibbs comes from.
Well, what's funny is when I first looked at the disc, when I first got it in mail, because I don't even think I watched it right away. When it said includes They Call Me Mr. Tibbs and something else, the organization, I was like, oh, Mr. Tibbs must just be another documentary or something like that. Because I thought because of the line in the movie, I thought it was all it was. I didn't, I just tossed it to the side with the rest of the movies until I finally watched it and opened it. And I looked at it and I'm like, I realized there's two whole other movies here. Like, what the fuck?
Surprise.
Yeah, surprise for the same price. The only downside, I think, I have to do some research, but I believe the Criterion Collection has a bunch of special features that are not carried over. But I have to look on that. So I believe this just has the MGM special features carried over, and that's it.
Nice.
All right.
Because surprisingly, or not surprisingly, Criterion had the same 4K scan, but they did only a 2K release like 4 years ago, or whatever it was, 3 years ago, whatever it was.
Weirdness, how they do that sometimes.
Yeah. But they didn't, they must have opted out of doing the 4K release, and Kino scooped it up, so yeah. And Kino clearly did not want to pay Criterion for their special features from what it looked like. So.
No, we're good. We'll take what we got.
Which ostensibly is what Shout does.
Pretty much,
their Shout Select, but unlike Kino, where I think I paid only $15 for it. I'm assuming that's what you probably paid for that, Runner. Am I mistaken?
I don't remember the price.
Even if you paid $20 for it, you got 3 fucking movies there.
Oh, I know. That's great. I think
only one of them's in 4K, but still.
No, I know. I probably got I probably got it somewhere around the 20 range because most of the movies I got from Kino were 20.
I mean, that's a good trade on the special features. I just got to see what else is different because sometimes Criterion has some good shit. Sometimes it's just archival stuff that's kind of you can find a lot of it online. So sometimes though they'll do like I said, they'll do their own stuff that you can't only get on their releases. So I'll have to look. I've never compared. I don't have the Criterion of Heat of the Night though. I only have the old version of it.
Okay.
Get you.
Yeah, the MGM Fox release.
Later, Tommy. Have a good one.
Hey, good seeing you, Tommy.
Yeah, Tommy.
So, yeah. Was there more you had to say, Runner, about it?
Yeah.
Did you learn anything? Are you not going to be as much of a racist now?
You missed the point, man. The chief wasn't really a racist.
No, he wasn't.
No.
The chief is the outsider. That's
exactly
the point.
Yeah, which was great. Yeah, it's a good movie. Sidney Poitier's badass. It's a good one. I need to rewatch it. It's
funny how he just kind of gets sucked into this mystery too.
I need to rewatch it in order to like really give out a full review. It's just one of those types of movies. You know,
it's a great flick though, and you could feel the fucking movie, right? Like you watch it and you can feel the heat permeate from it, the southern heat.
I hate that southern heat, man. Oh.
Like I've never, outside of Vegas, I've never been to the South, but just watching the movie, especially like the cotton picking scene and stuff like that, like, I mean, it's just, you feel that heat, man. It's like,
no, you make.
I can tell you that it's unbearable, man.
I forgot about that.
And what's his face is constantly rubbing the sweat off himself.
Yeah, with the sunglasses and the.
I love it.
Yeah,
it's one of the few times the series though is I actually like Carol O'Connor better as the main the one cop. I forgot his name now all of a sudden. But,
Chief Gillespie.
Gillespie, yes, thank you. I actually kind of like Carol O'Connor's version a little bit better.
He does a really great job. It
almost feels like it was more tailor made for him in a weird way.
Yeah,
because it's like the opposite of Archie Bunker. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah,
like it's like a total 180. But it still has like that charm to it where he's, and especially when he just kind of has that twinkle compared to what's his face in the original, which I loved the original's performance, but now I've forgotten the name. It's right on the cover there. What's his name?
What's his name, Runner? The original Gillespie.
It's on the tip of my tongue. Rod Steiger.
There you go.
Yeah.
What's in the chat? There you go.
There you go. Rod Steiger. Yeah. Yeah, he's good, but for some reason Carol O'Connor got it better. But Sidney Poitier was definitely Mr. Tibbs. Now I'd have loved in the show, and they just brought Sidney Poitier back with. There's nothing against the actor they got in there, but he just doesn't have the gravitas that Sidney does.
He really became like the back burner character on that show, and Carol O'Connor just basically took over the show.
Yeah, his personal life got in the way.
Yeah. I mean, at one point, Apollo Creed came on and replaced him. So,
no, it'd have been cool though, just to see like that, and I don't know if Rod Steiger was even still alive at that point. When did Rod die? I don't know. That's a good question. And the other thing is, the guy they had playing Tibbs in that show seemed way too young. Howard E. Rollins, yeah,
Howard, he was, he needed to be a bit older.
He felt like he was older than he looked. That was the other weird thing, because he wasn't that much younger than Sidney Poitier. I looked it up. Yeah. Oh, so Rod made it to the 2000s, but I don't know. For some reason, I just thought Carol just did it a touch better for some reason to me. I don't know why, but maybe it's just because I've always loved Carol O'Connor too. That's the other thing. But
it's almost like he should have been the guy in the movie, and it just, I don't know. It's just,
I don't think he was that old yet by that point, because I mean, he'd have been a bit young then. I'm trying to think. I mean, I know he was acting at that point probably, but I mean, when you think, that was the other weird thing about the show too, is the show picks up like the movie happened. It's like, that'd have been 20 fucking years ago.
He's like, I worked the case with him years ago, but now we're moving here to.
I mean, you could fudge it a little bit, but that's the problem I have with Rollins, is the character's like, you can kind of buy Carol O'Connor as a little bit older Steiger character, but you have a hard time buying Rollins in that age range, right? Like, it just doesn't seem to work right.
Yeah.
98.6 down here. It burns. It burns. Yeah.
All right. But any other thoughts, Runner? Anything you want to say before we?
No. That's about it.
I love runners. I got
you
this
call
movie.
him Mr. Tibbs.
Greg, do I need to repeat myself again? I need to rewatch it because
I know. It just cracked me up. Like I
no,
brought this
like
movie,
like
but I need
not
to rewatch it.
no, because like Tom just like he's seen the movie more than I have.
Oh yeah, and of course I talk. Well, this is the Heat of the Night is one of those movies, which is funny that I never knew there was sequels until recently. It's just one of those movies I always bring up. It's one of my talking point movies. I've analyzed it. It has so many layers to it. I've talked about before how really it's not Tibbs who's the outsider. It's the sheriff himself, or it's Gillespie himself, who actually the town looks down on, and he's kind of treated as this outsider because he doesn't follow along with their rules. And it's him who's kind of the driving force, where Tibbs is, although we see the racism blasted at him, it's actually Steiger's character who's like the boiling character. Like at some point it just got a snap, and then you got the added in bonus of the mystery, and just the way the movie's shot. It just captures the South in a way that I imagine the South feels and smells and looks, and it just does a great job. Yeah, the dirty South, just like, and not in a dirty in a bad way either, but you know what I mean. Just that.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Dusty old South is probably a better way of looking at it, but it just does a great job of just capturing all that, and not only that, just that time period. And when it came out, the way the civil rights were going, and Sidney Poitier being in that movie, doing what he did, was so, like, that's the thing, is this is why I bring it up, is because when people talk about virtue signaling and first this and first that, it's like I'll laugh at them in Sidney Poitier, because it's like, go watch this movie. Like, that motherfucker stood up for this movie in ways that if it wasn't for him, the movie wouldn't have existed the way it does.
Right.
Like, he fought for that cotton scene to be in there the way it was. He fought for the scene to where he's like, not only does he get to slap me, but I got to slap him back.
Right.
And he doesn't get to retaliate. Because that's the moment, and that's the slap heard around the world at that point, because everybody was expecting at that moment for everything to happen that other character says. When Sidney Poitier stands on his 2 feet and says, no, you will respect me as a fucking man. Like, that is a moment not just for cinema history, but black men in general, right? Like, that was a big fucking moment, especially in a movie like that, where it was set, what it was saying, and how it was saying it. That is actual progressive movie making. Yeah. That is actually taking a movie and making a fucking statement with it. And like you can do. And this is why I hate the woke movement, because it's such a false version of that. It is not true that. You know what I mean? Like, Sidney was a pioneer in that sense. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say, but there was no other actors like Sidney Poitier before.
I'm wrong. Jennifer Lawrence did it first.
Yeah, that's right.
She did it first. She paved the way for all people. But yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, I think people tend to forget movies like this.
The audience gasped at that scene. They were expecting a retaliation, right? Like, like it was a big fucking deal to have a black man strike a white man and have nothing, not a goddamn thing happen to him.
Yep.
And that's exactly what Sidney's like saying. He's like, what the fuck are you going to do?
Yeah,
that's right.
Do it again.
I'm your worst nightmare. I'm a blank with a badge, like Eddie Murphy says in 48 Hours. Let's see what we can fuck with next.
All right, I guess it gives me for my last pick. If anything else.
Sorry, it's just one of those movies.
I really get you.
Gets me fired up. It gets me fired up.
We can talk about it a lot.
No, yeah. Tom broke it down perfectly. I have nothing else to say.
Yeah.
Now you make me want to go watch it again, damn it.
Hey, that's not a bad thing though, right?
No, it's one of those movies that you can watch over and over and over, and you can find new things in it every time. And that's where I love breaking these kind of movies down, because there are so many subtle layers to them. And it probably took me 2-3 times to kind of watch it before I realized, oh, really, it's Gillespie who's the outsider here. Because you kind of realize how everybody kind of treats him. They kind of talk down to him, and he's their bitch until he's not anymore. And it takes Tibbs to make him stand up for himself. Because Tibbs is right, through the whole thing. And the way that they approached him to begin with was wrong, and he knows it.
It's true. It's true. Very, very true. Okay, I guess we'll go on to me from a groundbreaking movie about race relations to crazy-ass white people. It's this movie. I'm surprised.
We need a funny movie. I didn't bring a funny movie this time. I'm sorry.
It's not a funny movie. It's a horror movie.
Oh, sorry.
But it's crazy.
It has potential.
I'm surprised this movie doesn't have a shot factory.
Oh my god, I remember that one.
Yeah, I'm surprised this does not have a shot factory of vinegar syndrome, because this screams vinegar syndrome.
It
movie.
Does scream vinegar syndrome.
Snyder's Strangeland.
Fucked up movie. Fucked up movie.
Crazy white people. Like I said, crazy white people.
That's a Rob Zombie movie before Rob Zombie was
it's D. Snyder, man, tried channeling his inner Rob Zombie. I enjoy this movie, but it's
actually Zombie
crazy.
Was around then, but he wasn't directing or nothing. I think it was still White Zombie at that moment. Because I remember when that fucker came out. That was what, 2000, 2001?
This movie?
I had that DVD and I got rid of it because I only watched it like once.
This is like 98.
Okay, a little earlier than I thought. But I did buy it and I watched it once and I'm like, I shouldn't have bought this. I'll never watch this crap again.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I like stupid movies like that, but it definitely does scream of vinegar syndrome. It's really surprised it's not on Blu-ray anywhere.
I'd probably watch it now and enjoy it more, but at that time you got to put it in the mindset of somebody who probably just spent $20 on a DVD.
Yeah, exactly. I get where you're coming from. But
with inflation, that's like $60-$70, kids.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes, Random Brad. Because Random Brad mentioned it in the chat last week, and I was like, I was about to get that, and I'm watching it. That he did. But yeah, for those who don't know, D. Snyder wrote this from Twisted Sister. He wrote it. He
directed.
No, he didn't direct it.
Oh, he didn't direct? I thought he directed it.
Did not direct it. He just wrote it.
Okay, I was wrong. I'm sorry.
He wrote it, and he plays the villain.
Okay, I know he's in it, and he wrote it.
He wrote it. He plays the villain, Captain Howdy. He lures young girls.
Yes, Captain Howdy.
Yes, Captain Howdy. He lures young teen girls and people to his house, and he mutilates them with piercings and
which is one
things.
of the worst picks. Because, let's be real, who doesn't know what that's a reference to? I'll give the chat 5 seconds because of the delay.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. If you're going to reference a horror movie, do something a little bit more obscure. But anyway, continue.
Yes. And yeah. Speaking of which, Robert Englund's in the movie. And we lost Runner.
Runner hates the movie so much.
He's like, I ain't listening to this shit.
Actually, he's like, fuck, I don't know the answer to that. Yeah. Tim got it right away. I knew Tim would. Somebody would. Steven or Tim would get it right away.
Yes. He's trying to experience a higher plane of existence through mutilation and body piercings and tattoos and stuff. He wants to experience death, the virgin.
Yeah, it's kind of like it reminded me a lot of Jesus Christ, Hellraiser.
Yeah, and, it's got a bit of Hellraiser in it. Yeah,
meets like psychosexual, heavy metal. I don't know what to fucking explain. It is weird.
It's weird. D. Snyder's a big horror fan, and he's a big fan like that. So he tried to create his own little slasher type guy here.
I'm trying to remember now. This is a movie I forgot about 20 years ago, dude. So
I'd give it a rewatch. You might like it better now, though.
Yeah, I can see that.
I will say, I didn't need to see Robert Englund in his underwear talking about his hard-on and dancing.
That's one of the reasons I got it, probably. I forgot he was in it. That's right.
Yeah. I didn't need to see that scene, Robert Englund like that, but it's not a bad... I mean, yeah, I could see, like, when I was younger, I wouldn't have liked this, but seeing it now, I enjoy it better. But yeah, basically, he takes this Linda Cardellini, who was actually the great Velma from the Scooby-Doo movies with them.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, she's this young girl. She gets tricked by Captain Howdy. He gets her. He kills her friend. He gets her and starts sews up her mouth and stuff. And her dad's a cop, So her dad starts looking for him, trying to find his daughter and everything. And the first half of the movie is actually a pretty decent flick of like you're getting to know this cop and what he's searching for his daughter and who Captain Howdy is. It never really shows him fully and stuff. But the second half of the movie, it feels like it was rushed and that they had to cut a bitch, cut a bitch. It felt like they had to cut stuff out to get to the end of the movie, keep it a nice tight 90 something minute long horror movie, because like he catches him, he saves his daughter, they rehabilitate Captain Howdy. He's actually found not guilty as reason of insanity, and he goes to being a normal human being, and he moves back to his house because they release him. And then Robert Englund, who plays this hillbilly, he thinks it's bullshit, and his daughter doesn't come home one night, so he immediately thinks it was him that took his daughter when his daughter was just out banging some dude. And so they string up Captain, they break into his house, they lynch mob him, hang him, and he experiences that perfect moment of death that he wanted to experience, and he turns back to Captain Howdy, and he just basically goes and starts killing and kidnapping again. And it's like once it gets to that point, it kind of feels like they rushed it a little bit to get to the end. But other than that, it's a creepy movie. It's messed up. Dee Snider, I don't know what was in his brain, what he was thinking when he made this, but yeah, this movie definitely screams for a Blu-ray. I would go for a new Blu-ray or 4K of this from Vinegar Syndrome or Shout Factory. But yeah, the DVD doesn't look too bad, but I would definitely prefer a better print. Freddy's home. Yeah, so it's a scene. It's just like Robert Englund dancing in his underwear, and then he gets caught, and then Dee Snider strips him naked and starts putting hooks in him. It's crazy. It's crazy, and a lot of boobs, a lot of piercings, a lot of tattoos. It's just crazy white people shit. Let me tell you. But yeah, that was my final movie, Strangeland, Dee Snider's Strangeland. So there you guys have it. Runner, you probably would not like this movie. So just letting you know that. Yeah. I wonder if it does have a Blu-ray, like a foreign release Blu-ray. I've never seen one. I know it's still only on DVD, and there's like no special features. So it's got a great hard metal soundtrack to it, with a lot of like 90s metal bands. So
that's cool.
It's got one with Kid Rock and Eminem, which is crazy. And it's got Twisted Sister and other like 90s metal bands. But yeah, that's my final pick of the night. And good night, Brian Barth. Glad you hung with us tonight, and hope you enjoyed the show.
Yeah, we managed to keep it under 3 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
So thanks, kids.
Yes, thank you all. In the old VHS stores, the cashiers probably knew who was the most likely serial killers, and then probably.
Fuck Runners Best Buy. Fuck Runners Best Buy. Runners Best Buy. Runners Best Buy. Runners Best Buy up the butt.
I actually like that one more.
That was good. All right. Thank you guys for coming on.
We ain't had it in a while. I figured,
Yeah, we haven't.
No, that was a way better. That was a way better sound effect than the original.
We haven't put down your Best Buy in a while, so fuck Best Buy though. They're raising the prices out astronomical, man. That's just crazy.
They've started to decline the prices of late because I think they realize
maybe at yours, but most of the videos I've seen and stuff hasn't changed. It's going up.
Really? God.
Yeah.
God, your area must.
And I'll tell you
suck.
right now, their steel books for Rocky aren't really impressive. Like, I am getting them, but I'm like really kind of kicking myself going, should I have just spent the whatever just to get the 4-pack instead because it's cheaper?
The Knockout Collection. I'm debating on the Steelbook or the Knockout Collection thing too, because yeah.
I already pre-ordered the Steelbooks, and I think the first one's already unavailable. I think they found some more of the second one, but I noticed the first and second one you couldn't get for a while there, but yeah.
Yeah, the first one is unavailable. But the Knockout collection comes out the same exact day as the first Steelbook.
Yeah, and I noticed they staggered the second, third, and fourth film on Steelbook for like a week or something like that. It's just weird. I don't
Yeah.
understand it. Whatever, fuckers.
Whatever's.
You gotta make
They're
you
gonna
gotta
make
make
me
sure
change
to
my mind at the last minute.
you gotta make sure if you want to pick it up, go to that day and fucking
No,
be
I
the
order.
first
I
person.
pre-order. I get on there right away. If you get on there
I
right away, you can
I
get in the
don't
pre-orders.
Yeah,
I
and they
don't
come in early
I
too.
don't often pre-order stuff.
It's the
That
only
can
way half the time you can guarantee you're gonna get it, especially with Best Buy anymore.
Yeah, with the Steelbooks, big
No,
time.
I know, but like most of the time they're there.
We
That's
don't
the
have a
thing.
fancy fucking Best Buy like
I know
you
he's
that
like
I
got
sends
this
shit
know, I'm
magical
around.
sorry.
Best Buy that time has forgotten. The
Yeah,
prices
that
haven't gone up.
has
It's got
several
rows and
fucking
rows.
sections of Blu-rays and DVD. Like
Yeah,
you don't realize that my two, like in the capital of my state, the two Best Buys have shit for fucking Blu-ray. Like the one
exactly.
literally has one kiosk, four-sided thing for their 4Ks. That's it.
Exactly.
And then one row of other shit. It's like, are you shitting me? There's nothing here now.
It's
And
true.
it's pretty much the same thing at the other one. And in fact, the other one was like, it has that, but guess what? They hadn't stocked anything all COVID time. Like there was nothing there. Like it was like hardly any movies there. It was like, are you shitting me? Like, where are all the movies? And the guy at the store is like, yeah, you got to order them online.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, BDW guys. I don't want to, for anybody in the chat that doesn't want to know this or anything. Apparently, the ending, the reveal of the killers for Scream 6 has leaked online.
Oh, goody. Who cares?
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
I just wanted to
Tell me
you
in the private chat. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I will. I'll tell
Yeah,
you as soon as we
same.
close it down here.
I'm not even sure if I'm going to watch this one.
I'll watch it. I'm gonna bite the bullet.
I'm definitely not watching it right away because I ain't giving him the.
Yeah,
No, I don't
if
want
I watch it, I'm gonna wait till it comes out on the thing.
No, I don't want to give. I don't want to give him the money. That's for sure.
Yeah, if I still have Paramount Plus, I'll just wait for it to get on there.
You know what's funny? The fucking that fucking dinosaur movie that Adam Driver's in comes out the same exact day as Scream
65.
6.
I hope it stomps it too.
Oh man, it's gonna stop it.
I hope so too because that movie looks so fucking good.
What I think is going to be even funnier is next week if Cocaine Bear knocks Ant-Man off the top spot.
Oh, that'd be bad.
That'll be hilarious.
I would love to see if Blood and Honey takes on Ant-Man.
I don't think Blood and Honey has that kind of appeal, but what I'm saying this because Cocaine Bear had that big thing at the Super Bowl.
They did. Yeah, that's true.
And I think this is going to be a soft opening for a Marvel film.
Mm-hmm.
And the word of mouth is going to get around about how fucking bad this movie is. And it is going to tank that second weekend. And Cocaine Bear is going to come in and just squeak out the top spot. And this is my prediction. Because like I think in the US this weekend, and this is just my predictions, you guys can clip this and say I'm wrong later. Because they always do.
We'll get
they never tell me when I'm right.
Tarantino, you fucking knew it.
Well, no, that's the thing. I use that more often than not. But like people are like, they only come after me when I'm wrong. Never praise me when I'm right. I predict that Ant-Man's going to open below 100 million in the US this weekend because the last one only opened with 75.
Mm-hmm.
My prediction is this one's going to open between 85 and 100 million. It might get lucky and eke out like 110, but it's going to drop like a rock next weekend, and it's going to get like 40 million, and Cocaine Bear is going to get like 41 million. It's going to be one of those things where they don't really realize till like Sunday that, oh shit, Cocaine Bear actually beat this movie. It's going to be hilarious if it happens. I think it'll be funny.
Like, and the reason why I mentioned Blood and Honey is because when I saw it tonight, more than half of the theater was fucking packed. Like, people wanted to see this fucking movie.
It's good. Blood and Honey's gonna make a lot of money, but it's not going to be up the leagues of those movies.
Well, I was gonna get to the problem. The problem is,
well, it doesn't have the distribution either, but yeah.
Yeah, that too.
No, I was gonna say the problem is it's a Fathom Events movie, like distribution, because like in most places it's only gonna show for like one night, one time only. And I did check, like, it is playing 2 more times tomorrow and Friday, but it's theaters that are nowhere close to me, so there's probably some people who can have the opportunity to see it the next 2 days at least, but
I predict the Pooh movie will play like the Terrifier movie did.
yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, it'll do great business, but it's not going to make number one.
I want it to though.
All right.
I really do. I would love it to though. It probably won't,
We'll
but
clip
I would
that.
love
And
it.
we'll see if Tom's right because I think he might be right.
Oh, and
We'll see.
Steven.
All right, though.
Steven from Deleted Scenes makes a good point. Fathom events tend to cost more. Yeah, $15 a ticket.
That's a lot.
It was worth
That's
it
a
though.
movie.
It was worth.
That's like a movie I could buy a Blu-ray.
I know, but it was no, but like it looked amazing, like on big screen. It really did. Like if you want a good experience, this is the type of movie you gotta see in the movie theater.
It'd be good. But with all that being said, thank you, Tom. Thank you, Runner. Thank you to everybody in the chat, everybody watching at home. Once again, I want to reiterate, if anybody makes it this far in, if you can find a VHS or a DVD copy of Hard to Die from Roger Corman for a very, very decent price, I ain't paying no $7,500 for a VHS or a DVD. Let me know. But anyways, thank you guys, everybody in chat, Tom, Runner. I appreciate you guys. Until next week, you guys don't have to go home.
Problem is, it's a Ridley Scott film.
Yeah, I laughed a little bit from that.
You weren't even here for the whole Ridley Scott thing. Yeah.
What were you guys talking about, Ridley Scott?
Oh, yeah, because I was talking about Pelham 1, 2, 3, and Tony Scott directed the remake, or one of the remakes.
Oh, Tony Scott.
And so I was griping about,
Tony
you know,
Scott.
whenever the Scotts brothers come up, you know me.
Yeah.
I got to take a shot or two at Ridley.
Well, honestly, I don't know if Tom agrees with me or not, but I've always liked Tony Scott more than Ridley Scott.
Me too. That's what I was saying.
That's basically what you're saying. Yeah, Tony Scott's better.
The better director. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Ridley would have been better if they worked as a team, as like Ridley as the cinematographer and him as the director. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I can definitely see that. Yeah.
Your timing was exquisite.
I still can't get over the Ridley Scott. Like I literally, it all started because I said it was shot beautifully. Like it looked really damn good for a fucking low budget horror film. And then somebody's like, "Oh, it's a Ridley Scott film."
Well, that's because we were making fun of Ridley Scott earlier. That's why I brought it
up. That's funny. I thought that was just random. I'm like,
because it's a Ridley Scott film.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. But if Ridley Scott, we even joked about that. Yeah, we're like, but if Ridley Scott made the Pooh movie.
Yeah, we did, didn't we? We did.
Oh, bother, why is there a unicorn here?
See, the movie probably wouldn't have been as good if it was a Ridley Scott film.
All right. Well, we will see you guys all next week, and hopefully I will have my computer soon and I can start making videos again. And so you guys all have a good night. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
How you doing?
I like ice cream.
Bitches leave.